It's interesting. I mean, when Ricky shot 62, his playing partner shot 76 and 73. But yeah, it's interesting.
Tournament's not going to have much atmosphere when they're only allowing 22,000 people in it too.
Well, and also only about 5 to 7,000, real fans. Like over 15,000 is corporate, sponsor folk.
I like the British better. I had trouble staying awake till 11 o'clock last night. Fell asleep twice watching golf.
Okay. Fair enough. Man, I've had one good night's sleep this week, and I never have trouble sleeping. Something's going on. Morning, everybody.
I'm just the opposite. I sleep all the time and I'm tired all the time.
You got that mask? Or
yeah,
do you?
Doesn't do a damn thing.
Really? It makes all the difference for me.
I just yawn a lot and I'm tired a lot. Oh, well. At least I don't have any money.
Well, right. I mean, it's not like you're burning the midnight oil.
$15 seconds.
Hey.
Ho! Hey now.
How about that?
All the things I've contributed to your life could be the worst.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. You've made it to Friday. You can get to the finish line from here. Hopefully we'll help. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Good show lined up. We'll check in on the golf. We'll find out where do the Heat and Panthers go from here with a couple of guys who cover them. Heck, it's a Friday. We can make it a football Friday. Although tough to find football things to talk about mid-June, but, we can get creative.
Football Friday.
Oh, wow. Somebody is feeling it. Top of the morning to you. How are you?
I just heard those words and I got excited, David. I know it's a few weeks before we have official football Fridays, but I heard it. It set me off. I was ready. And the alliteration, I don't have a U.S. Open Friday, just doesn't have the same bite to it, if you know.
Right. Golf Galactica just doesn't, just fall off the tip of the tongue. Well, I'm assuming you stayed up and you watched primetime golf last night.
Right? I watched as much as I could. I was falling asleep. I figured out that I like British Open golf more than U.S. Open primetime golf because the old guy's falling asleep after 10 o'clock.
Aha! So a verdict was reached last night as to which do you prefer?
It's waking up with golf, not going to sleep with. Golf can make you go to sleep. I will say, you put that golf on, snuggling on the couch there, it can put you right down for the count.
The dulcet tones of Dan Hicks can do it every time. Can do it every time. Listen, at least, Rory came through for NBC, though. Come on now. Rory shooting 65, a lot of it in prime time. I don't know, NBC can ask for a whole lot more than that. So I don't know what to make of the two historic scores because, I'm old enough to remember, especially since it took place kind of sort of in my backyard. In 1980, Nicklaus and Weiskopf went out and fired 7 under 63s in the first round at Baltusrol, historic course. Now, over the next 3 days, Nicklaus won, but he only went 1 under the next 3 days total. And so I'm wondering, hey, can the course jump back up and bite these guys? Ricky shoots a 62, but the two guys in his group combined were 9 over. 76, right, 73.
It is the best first round in the history of this tournament. Despite what his two playing partners shot, there has never been an average score lower for a round at the U.S. Open than it was yesterday.
I'll say this. You hit it in the rough, it's a U.S. Open. You miss the greens, it's a U.S. Open. So is this why the fairways are usually as narrow as they are? Because these fairways were, by U.S. Open standards, this is like landing a plane and going, wow, we got a whole other runway. When they had that sucker at Pebble was too short, but so they compensated by making the fairways about as wide as a runway. But so is your fear that the winning score is going to be about 15 under?
Absolutely.
Huh.
Now, they can move a couple of those par threes back even further, which I anticipate happening. They were playing at like 258. They can stretch them back to 300 if they want. That's going to happen.
Right. Could happen 3 days in a row.
You're darn right it could. Pin placements will be in spots that will not be receptive of balls rolling down hills and getting within 2 feet. I don't think you'll see that.
Double cut the greens to make them, like a tabletop. USGA is, thank goodness they have a change atop the leadership, because if Mike Davis was still running the USGA, oh my goodness, he'd be out there. He'd be like planting new grass in the fairways overnight to like shrink the size of the fairways. I have to admit, I don't know if you cut the grass the rest of the tournament. If you're the USGA, you're like, well, we're just going to let it grow. What Rory did at 18, we want happening in the fairway too. That's the weird thing. We had 262s and we had the third ranked golfer in the world whiff on a chip. It was a strange day. We had 2 hole-in-ones, for goodness sake, on the same hole.
And nearly had a hole-in-one on a par 4.
Right. So it was, listen, if you didn't buckle in rooting for carnage, which some people do for the U.S. Open.
Yours truly is a big fan of carnage at the U.S. Open. I don't want to see 62s. I don't mind. If there was one, if one of them would have done it and nobody else was better than 3-4 under, then you go, wow.
Right.
What a round.
Right. Watson shot around at the Western Open one time in horrendous weather. He shot a 62. Next best score was 69. That's when you just go, I think it was pretty amazing. By the way, going back to 1980 in Baltusrol, Weiskopf shoots the 63 first. And he's sitting, he does the scorecard and whatever, and he goes into the press room. And while he's being interviewed, Jack finishes with a 63. And Weiskopf literally looks up and goes, that son of a wouldn't even let me get a half an hour on him.
I just kept thinking throughout Ricky Fowler's round yesterday, will he thank Live Golf in the presser? Because Ricky got into the U.S. Open because he's now ranked 52nd in the world. Due largely to Live Golf forming, Ricky being able to keep his card and finding his game again.
So Ricky Fowler was outside the top 125 all of last year. Ricky Fowler, by the way, was first alternate at last year's U.S. Open. He literally spent the entire first round at Brookline last year, or was it the Country Club? Okay, on the range. He spent all day on the range waiting for one golfer to WD before hitting his first tee shot. And that never happened. So Ricky was literally first guy out of the field at last year's U.S. Open. He spends the whole year outside the top 125. And then between June and August, the 24 to 36 guys who are normally, a part of the top 125 on the PGA Tour, they went to go play Live. They got X's drawn through them. And at the end of the year, what was Ricky? 124? Something like that? I mean,
in the 120s, wherever it was, he was in the 120s.
And it was all because of Live. He kept his card because of Live. And by keeping his card, he then could get in to all the events of the last 9 months. And credit to him, he got his game together. But he would have been getting his game together on the Korn Ferry Tour.
And Ricky would have been playing on tour because he would have gotten sponsors exemptions and he would have gotten in a handful of tournaments. But it's not that easy when they're picking when you play as opposed to when you're picking when you play. And as David said, credit to him. He got his card back and he went out and played good golf. But it is amazing that Ricky Fowler in the lead. I think you've got to give a tip of the cap to Live Golf for making sure he had his card.
Well, the only change to life that I noticed yesterday was the morning announcing crew anyway had no trouble saying, well, these days this guy plays on Live. Like I heard Live 8-10 times in the afternoon yesterday. I went, I'll be darned. I don't know if Live's ever been said 8 times in a year on CBS. So, okay. And Fowler had that 62 about as long as Weiskopf had that 63 back in 1980 because Schauffele was like 2 holes behind him?
2 or 3. It was a similar time frame of what you were talking about with Weiskopf and Nicklaus, because that other 62 was on the board pretty quickly.
So, tied for the lowest round in the history of major championship golf and the lowest round in the history of the U.S. Open. There was only one other 62 in major championship golf. It happened a few years ago in the Open Championship. Brandon Grace posted a 62. So 8 under your first round leader, co-leader. We had a DJ sighting yesterday. DJ had a good first round at the PGA and then shot 3 consecutive rounds over par. We'll see if DJ can keep it together. He's contended in this tournament before. He's won it before. He's finished second before.
But 13 guys, 3 under or better yesterday.
Yeah, that's more like a Florida swing event right there.
37 guys finished under par.
I mean, it's like one over going to be the cut? Something ridiculous like that for a U.S. Open?
I mean, right now, 2 over, based on yesterday, 1 over would make it. So you just, a 2 over score would make the cut based on what yesterday's numbers tell us.
Oftentimes it's double it and add a stroke, but I don't think so this time around.
82 players, 1 over or better. So you may be right. It could end up being 1 over.
They still do 10 shots? I always get confused. For the USGA they used to have 2 ways to make the cut. It'd be like top 70 in ties or the 10-shot rule. And 1 year, because of the 10-shot rule, they had like 90 guys.
And then I thought they got rid of the 10-shot rule because of that.
I think you're right. So, primetime golf, though, baby. What'd you think? Did you like the way the course looked?
I thought I did I like 6. I like that there was the fact that there's a par 4 you can drive. But with no breeze really to speak of, and the course being what they said was a little on the soft side, it's target practice for these guys.
Plus, it was weird. Nobody shot 80, which I know is 10 over on that course, but still, usually there's 80s in the first round of an Open. Miller and Moulton. The starting 5 is 25 minutes away. Ron Sirak in a little more than an hour. Thanks for being with us, Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I didn't realize Ricky hadn't played in the last 2 U.S. Opens.
I didn't either.
So yesterday was his first U.S. Open round since the pandemic, a one at Wingfoot. Ambient. Is that a joke? Wow, that's breaking news, Ambient. I mean, that's only been the case for 10 years. No, Ambient. No. Don't know, Coffin Ball. Don't know.
Because he's in YouTube. We see everybody, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. He's not in the Twitch chat room. That's
Gotcha.
why you can't see him. He did something stupid and got suspended from Twitch for a week.
Adam, I figured since you live in the Panhandle and you root for the Jags that you'd be a Florida State guy, but you're a big Gator homer. It's funny how interested fans get in their secondary sports when their primary ones are not going that well.
10 seconds.
Did you like it, Adam?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
$21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Ron Sirak in a little more than an hour. Talking a little golf. It is the U.S. Open after all. Historic day yesterday at LA Country Club. And our 8 o'clock hour, where do the Heat and Panthers go from here? Panthers go to the operating room. We know that. For a few guys. No, I'm going to have my surgery before you. No, it's my turn. Now, let's do it alphabetically.
In the Heat, just who are they going to bring in?
Right.
Beal, Dame. I mean, they're all coming. That's just read the stories. Everybody's coming to Miami. I don't know how, but they're getting them all, David.
Mark, apparently Tyler Hero can get you a lot, which is funny because the Heat without Tyler Hero got all the way to the finals. But apparently he's a hell of a chip.
That and what do they have? 4 first-round picks over the course of I don't know how many years, but that's right. What they have.
I think the rest of the decade. So you can't trade back-to-back picks, so you have to do the every other year thing. Did you pay any attention at all or hear any details about what went on in soccer last night?
Well, let's see. A couple of near brawls and then a homophobic chant that got the game ended early.
Well, apparently the Mexican fans, this anti-gay chant that they do whenever the opposing goalie has a goal kick. I don't know. It seems absurd to me, but so they're in Vegas. I mean, it is the sports capital of the world these days. And the U.S. is kicking them out of Mexico again, by the way. And late in the second half, the U.S. playing conservatively, kick it back to the goalie a couple times. And all of a sudden, wherever, especially when they have these matches out west, L.A., Arizona, Las Vegas, the crowd's at least 50-50, if not 60-40, 70-30 pro-Mexico than it is pro-U.S. And so all of a sudden, this loud homophobic chant breaks out. The ref stops it the first time. And they make an announcement going, hey, keep this up. We'll call this match. And so during stoppage time, by the way, have you ever heard of a match that had more stoppage time than they had yesterday?
Well, they handed out red cards like they were chiclets in the game. So
it was 9-on-9 for the final 10 or so minutes of the match. It's supposed to be 11-on-11, just so you know. Anyway, 12 minutes of stoppage time. They only got through 8 minutes of it. The chant started again. The referee said, I warned you. Now, I don't think it made a difference as to the outcome. The U.S. was up 3-0, but still, 4 red cards, and the match can't be completed because it's more important to chant how much I hate gay people than it is to, play soccer. Okay, great. These are hell of a times we live in. Let me tell you. So that was just, about a little 2.5-hour experience in Vegas last night.
We did win 3-0.
We could say we, right?
Yeah.
We checked the right box, right? We can say
when I do citizenship, I still check USA. So
right.
That's a we.
Just making sure on this show, usually it's alma mater or citizenship.
That's about it.
That's we. Right. Not, Felipe, he adds a few more boxes to his, but for Miller and Moulton, it's alma mater, it's citizenship. So here's the other crazy part. This is when you should have known it's going to be a wild night. So in the hour leading up to the match, all of a sudden the word's out. The U.S. men's national team hasn't had a manager, head coach. In soccer, they call them managers. How come in college baseball, by the way, they call him a head coach? And in professional baseball, they call him a manager. And they're the exact same guy. I feel like I'm doing a Stephen Wright routine. Why is it we park in a driveway and drive on a parkway? But anyway, so in the hour leading up to the match, the U.S., which has had 2 interim managers since we got rid of the last manager. And Mark, remember why we dumped the last manager who led us to a decent finish in the World Cup?
Yeah, it was a petty dispute between players' parents. He and a player's parent.
Correct. The Gio Reyna there, who's a 20-year-old who a lot of people thought should have been playing more. And for whatever reason, he wasn't. And apparently behind the scenes, he was immature. And Burkhalter, the manager, was trying to teach him to grow up. Well, Reyna's parents, whose dad, by the way, played professional soccer and played on the U.S. men's national team. So apparently, Reyna's mom is really tight with Burkhalter's wife. They went to college together. Apparently, while in college, Burkhalter one night roughed up his now wife. So mom went public with that. That happened about 30 years ago. So Burkhalter gets suspended. We go through not one, but 2 interim managers. And while they're warming up last night, and Reyna's in the starting lineup, the word gets out that they're going to bring Berhalter back as the U.S. men's national team coach through the 2026 World Cup. Can Netflix follow this group for the next 3 years?
Absolutely. Or at least the parents of the team as well.
Right.
Call it soccer moms.
Whatever. But so anyway, was it a full moon last night?
No, not even close.
It was in Vegas. I'll tell you that. It was in Vegas. So good news is, have to admit, lately when we play Mexico, we look like we know how to play soccer. So we've had a result in 6 straight matches against Mexico, which ties our all-time best mark. Pulisic is now no one scored more goals against Mexico than Pulisic. And he's probably only going to play against them for about 8 more years.
Yeah, those really aren't friendlies. They can call them friendlies, but they're not friendlies.
No, and I thought I forget however many years ago it was now. It was like 5 or 6. It was 2 World Cups ago at least, if not 3 World Cups ago. Okay, we got Mexico into the World Cup. They were out. They were done. They had lost their last qualifying match, and they needed who we were playing, and we were already in. And they needed us to beat on the road, beat whoever it was we were playing. And we were not playing our top guys because we didn't want to get them hurt. And we scored 2 stoppage time goals to win the match and send Mexico to the World Cup. Did nothing to improve the relationship.
Nope, not a bit. And it was exactly how David described it. I think it was Costa Rica that they beat on the road.
On the road. We're playing like our backups. Got nothing to play for. We're in. And not only that, we have a chance. I mean, didn't we see it a couple years ago in the NFL? Okay, the Eagles pulled their starters in the 4th quarter because they didn't want the Giants, if the Eagles had won the game, to win the division. They said, no, we're playing Washington. We'd rather Washington go. There's Doug Peterson's last quarter as coach of the Eagles. We see it all the time. Teams lay down. I get to knock my rival out. This will be one of the best losses we've ever had.
And we laid down and still won.
Right. It's kind of like our relationship with the French. We had your backs in the mid-40s, baby. How come you still hate us?
Mostly because of how you acted in the late 40s.
I don't know. Maybe it was the 50s. I don't know. Maybe we didn't. I thought Elvis. Not only that, we had their back in the 40s, and then we had Elvis in the 50s.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles Or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Archer, citizen of Oklahoma State. No, we'll probably have a guest. We'll have at least one. Matter of fact, I'll make a prediction that we have two.
So I just quickly, speaking of the NBA draft, just quickly looked at a mock draft. Just literally just looked at it. And the Pistons are going to take the guy from Houston. Just was kind of looking at who Detroit's going to take.
Jarris?
Yeah. He's got a great wingspan, plays great defense. He's improved his shooting, but if he can't make it as a shooter, he'll be a rotation player. Let's draft somebody that we're not sure if he can make it as a shooter in the NBA.
5th overall, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to get somebody who I know can
score the
ball.
Basketball.
Right.
Just saying.
I'm with you.
I would be surprised if you know who this is, but do you know who Jeremy Grant is? Played for the Pistons a couple years ago.
Did he also play for the Blazers?
Yeah.
Okay.
He reminds me a lot of Jeremy Grant.
Oh, well, he's a lot like Jeremy Grant. We got to get him.
Boy, I'll tell you. Good thing Monty Williams making $13 million a year.
They destroyed the coaching market with that hiring, with that contract. They destroyed it.
Hey. At least the coaches show up every day. There's no load management with the coaches.
Good point. But if he's making $13 million a year,
yeah, but you know what? I'm glad. I am. I hope the coaches make more money. I want the owners to be more invested in the coaches. I don't want the coaches making $5 million when a rotational player is making 20. I mean, Duncan Robinson's making 20.
that's fair.
Okay. I want Spoelstra making a ton of money.
But that's the thing. How much is Spo going to make now?
Well, I mean, I want, I don't want them blowing out the coach because he's making one quarter of the 8th guy in our rotation.
I mean, I think you can give him 20 mil.
I did not know Oral Roberts was a 4 seed in their region. That's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
3rd regional 4 seed to make it to the World Series since '99.
Think about it. They're from the Summit League. They're at Omaha from the Summit.
Would you trade for Zion right now, Ambien? I get that the Pelicans wanted to get rid of him. Okay. He's fat. He's sleeping with everybody that he can. And that's more important than hoop.
Because they just signed him to that Supermax deal. I mean, you got to pay Zion like $240 million over the next 5 years.
The only
you know how many games he's played in his NBA career? 140 in 4 years. He's played 29 games the last 2 years.
I bet the Pelicans are dying to make that someone else's problem.
Right, but would you take him?
I think it's just Hysterical. Remember that draft? What was it, 3-4 years ago now? Zion 1, Ja Morant 2, and the Knicks had to settle for R.J. Barrett.
Yep. The 19 draft.
I mean, the other two are better, but they're nuts.
By the way, PJ Washington, same thing. Couple picks later. Getting played by these women out here. Acting a fool.
See, here's the difference. Sean Kemp was Zion before Zion, but Sean showed up every day.
Damn right.
Right, and they didn't have Instagram then.
Exactly.
Substances and everything.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour. Ron Sirak in an hour. We'll look back and forward about the Heat and the Panthers in our 8 o'clock hour. And we're heading into Father's Day weekend. Happy Father's Day to everybody it applies to. So there. That should be the poll question. All right. What do you want on Father's Day? And would anything other than leave me alone win? In fact, how about if that's a poll question? What do you want on Father's Day? A, to be left alone. B, everything else. Anything else. The world is your oyster.
You really need some alone time, don't you?
A, the world is my oyster. B, leave me the hell alone. Which do you think would win?
I would hope the world is my oyster.
I know. I would hope too. I got $20 on leave me the hell alone.
But I'm in an unusual spot for Father's Day because I cook. I do all of the cooking in our house.
Uh-huh.
And what I don't want to do on Sunday is go out to dinner because the U.S. Open's on. So I will cook my own Father's Day dinner for myself. And I won't be left alone either.
I would think that West Coast golf is the perfect Father's Day. You can get the meal done and cleaned up, and then you haven't missed an important shot. I mean, you can get the meal done and put away and what have you by 4 or 5 o'clock.
Not that old.
You're not going to eat it like 3?
What is this?
Well,
Thanksgiving?
Well, yeah. I'm just saying you got to get it out of the way. I mean, how much time do you want to spend with your family?
Well, if you eat at 3, half the field won't even be teed off yet on Sunday.
Just saying.
Why are we eating dinner so early?
Exactly.
I was just so you get the dishes, in the dishwasher by 5. So you can get ready for the final groups to tee off.
Didn't I mention we're not going to an early birds here? I'm actually going to cook the meal.
No, I know. But I mean, this is great. You guys came over. You ate. I love you all. Get the hell out. I got to watch golf. All right, maybe not. It's my nomination for the poll question.
I like it.
What do you want for Father's Day? A, the world is my oyster. B, leave me the hell alone.
The starting 5. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Never before had anyone shot better than 63 in a U.S. Open. And so 2 guys did it yesterday. Ricky Fowler, Xander Schauffele, about a half hour apart in the morning. 8 under 62s. Hell, they both parred their last hole for 62. They have a 2-shot lead over Dustin Johnson and Wyndham Clark. Rory McIlroy, Brian Harman are 3 shots back at 5 under. Brian Harman was in the final group of the 2017 U.S. Open. That Koepka won his first. He's actually played well in this tournament before. DeChambeau and Scheffler, both 3 under. Finau and Homa. 2 of Mark's foursome, by the way. Finau and Homa at 2 under. Phil, who's 53 today, by the way. I know he's toe jam now, but, you know, there's a few years ago at the U.S. Open, they used to sing him happy birthday. My guess is that doesn't happen this time around. Phil, Hovland, Rahm, and Cam Smith are all 1 under. Defending champion Matthew Fitzpatrick, along with Morikawa, Cantlay, and Koepka, all 1 over. Spieth, Patrick Reed, and Hideki Matsuyama are 2 over. JT, Adam Scott, and Tommy Fleetwood, all 3 over. And Justin Rose with a 76 yesterday, +6. He only beat like 7 guys in the whole field. So round 2 today. Hopefully it's a little windier. Hopefully the course plays a little harder. You know, like a U.S. Open. But maybe not. It's one of those years. The Nevada governor signed that A's stadium financing bill. So the last line of defense for the city of Oakland is that maybe somehow, some way, Major League Baseball will not approve the move.
Yeah, that doesn't seem very likely.
Well, considering Rob Manfred was asked about it yesterday, and he said, listen, I feel badly for Oakland, but they never put an offer on the table. What was the guy supposed to do?
Bingo.
So I don't know. It seems like the deck's stacked, but that's us. Speaking of Oakland, the Rays won the mighty nooner. Luke Raley with a homer in the 8th to snap a 3-all tie. Rays first team to get to 50 wins. 50-22 are the Tampa Bay Rays. I mean, they're on pace to win over 110 games, for goodness sakes. All right. Play guess the attendance.
I'm not allowed. It was a box score that I didn't watch the game, so I looked at the box score. I was reading through it this, after the game yesterday. I'm aware of the attendance.
All right.
I'm taking myself out of this game.
Can I guess? Right. Give me a number.
Hold on. Play along at home. We'll put the over-under at 7,500. This is their big attendance game of the week. It's the 12:30 game on a Wednesday or a Thursday. Remember, they've been red hot. It's been an emotional week. Hit 27,000 in the joint on Tuesday for that promotion. Felipe, 7,500 over under.
Over.
Under 7,133.
Come on, Oakland.
They were all out for the sell the team reverse boycott night. That was it for the week.
Do you think if we were doing a radio show out in the Bay Area that we could organize it where one night no one is in the stands? That would be the goal. No. We need to pick a game on Monday or a Tuesday night, July or August, literally empty. Empty. Not one person.
Yes, I think it could be done.
I do too. Unless they count season ticket holders, of which they probably, have like 638.
It doesn't matter. It would be fantastic to see a game that ended up, 214 people ended up, because you wouldn't get to everybody, but it would be. Well,
I say we have to get the whole damn staff there, and you assign one person per gate. And when people start walking up, you go all, Sopranos on them. You just start threatening them with bodily harm. If you walk through that gates, just so you know, you won't make it to your seat.
Probably a better way to protest than that, but I like where your head's at, David.
It's just, not only that, we'd spend like a month. If you show up Tuesday, we get a fake cop to say, if you show up Tuesday, you're going to jail.
Now he wants to threaten people with fake cops. This is going really well.
Well, what can I tell you?
Miller and Moulton arrested over boycott of team.
Once again, for Father's Day, what do you want? The world is your oyster, or leave me the hell alone? Vote accordingly. The Orioles, they've won 6 of 7, yet they're still 5 back of the Rays. They doubled up Toronto 4-2. Give it up to the Angels. Best ball they've played in quite a while. They took 3 of 4 from Texas. Ohtani, the winning pitcher, and he hit a home run to the opposite field that's still traveling in the 9th. His 22nd of the year. Angels are 4.5 back. Game behind Houston. in third place in the West, but threatening to make the playoffs. LA 5-3 over the Rangers. Nats avoided the sweep in Houston, scored 3 in the 10th and won 4-1. Houston 3.5 back of Texas. Detroit doubled up Minnesota 8-4 by scoring 3 in the 5th and 3 in the 9th. The Twins' loss, combined with the Guardians' 8-6 win over San Diego, has Cleveland just 2.5 back in the Central. Twins are in first or a game over 500. Same goes in the National League Central, by the way. Pirates lost to the Cubs 7-2. Even though the Cubs are 7 games below 500, they swept the first place team, and they're just 3.5 back. This just in, the Braves are really good. They're going to meet the Rays in the World Series. 8-3 Atlanta over Colorado. Their lead is 5 over the Marlins in the East. Give it up to the Phils, baby. About 2 weeks ago, they got swept by the Mets. They were in bad shape. Since then, they haven't lost many times. They beat Arizona 5-4. Did you hear what happened in the 9th inning? Who's the golfer? Who's the human rain delay? Is it Cantlay? Okay. Well, Craig Kimbrell is the Patrick Cantlay of Major League Baseball. He had not 1, not 2, but 3 pitch clock violations in the 9th inning, trying to close out the win, including on back-to-back pitches. Phil still won 5-4 over Arizona. Arizona lost. Dodgers won 5-4 over the White Sox in 11. LA just 2 back in the West. Nations Cup soccer, CONCACAF. It'll be the U.S. against Canada for the championship. The United States shut out Mexico 3-0. Pulisic with 2 goals, 1 late first half, 1 in the first minute of the second half. There were 4 red cards in the game. The match was shortened by 4 minutes because the Mexican fans wouldn't stop an anti-gay slur from chanting in the crowd. So the referee stopped the match. And the word is that the manager that the U.S. men's national team walked away from after the World Cup, they're bringing him back. They're giving him a 3-year contract, Greg Berhalter. Hopefully there's a Netflix documentary. That's all please, somebody. Very tragic news yesterday. Ray Lewis's son died at the age of 28. Former running back with the Canes. He played college football for 3 different colleges. No cause of death has been given. DeAndre Hopkins visited the Patriots yesterday. Apparently things went swimmingly. I think the only way that's possible is if he and Bill O'Brien were not in the same room with one another. Then again, maybe they just put a bunch of money on the table, and that's why Bill was allowed to stay in the room. Hop did not sign yet. Kansas City got their rings yesterday, Mark. Did you hear about these suckers?
They're big.
613 diamonds in them.
Yep.
Don't quite know how they came to that number, but they added up like, Super Bowl trophies and 50 years of existence. And these rings are obnoxious. But then again, you win a Super Bowl. I mean, who wears the Super Bowl ring? You just put it in a safety deposit box anyway.
A lot of these rings, the top comes off, and inside of the ring is the stadium. They're extravagant.
What is this, like a stuff you get in a cereal box? I mean, that sounds a little crazy. 613
cereal it is, but it's really expensive cereal, David.
I was gonna say, let's get the Count Chocula. I think there's a Super Bowl ring in the bottom. 613 diamonds, 35 rubles. You add it all up, it's 16 carats of jewelry. Man. NBA, the Nuggets had their parade yesterday. Somebody threw a beer can and hit Jokic's wife. What the heck? Why are you throwing a beer can at the stage of the team that delivered you a championship? I mean, unless they literally ran out of beer and said, hey, throw me that Coors Light. I mean, what the heck?
I like that you went Denver Coors Light, though.
Thank you.
There you go.
I'm glad you picked up on that. Thank you.
I prefer the banquet beer to the silver bullet, but I like the fact that you went the Coors family.
It's big out there. Danilo Gallinari opts in for a final year of his deal in Boston. The 34-year-old missed all of last year with a torn ACL. He'll cost nearly $7 million on the cap. Aaron Ekblad had shoulder surgery. The Panthers defenseman, he ain't going to be ready for training camp. I don't know if he's going to be ready for the start of the season. College World Series gets underway. Gators taking on Virginia, 7 o'clock tonight on ESPN. Florida's the number 2 seed. Why is that good? The number 1 overall seed has not won the College World Series since the Canes in 1999. So I have no idea who's going to win the College World Series, Mark, but I know it's not going to be Wake Forest because the number 1 seed jinx is alive and well. And that, gentlemen, at 7 minutes before the hour
That was the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
The poll question that David had asked for is up. What do you want for Father's Day? The world is my oyster. Leave me alone. Those are your choices. You can text in what you really want for Father's Day. I'd love to hear it. If I had something to give you for the best text, I would, but we don't. This show doesn't have that kind of budget. Text anyhow. 21,000's the number. Ron Sirak to join us in a little more than 30 minutes time to talk U.S. Open right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mongo, your Super Bowl ring would be at the bottom of Captain Crunch. Johnny Mac, what do you mean by a bill of goods when it comes to LA Country Club? What were they saying it was going to be brutal? Well, I mean, also, Johnny Mac, the Golf Channel doesn't do a whole lot of, I mean, the Golf Channel's not put on earth to be objective. The Golf Channel is basically a cheerleading show for, wait for it, all things golf. Yeah, Mark, what are you making for Father's Day?
I don't know. I have no idea. So a steak. I'm going to eat a steak.
What's everybody else going to have?
I don't give a damn. Probably going to make asparagus too because they both hate it and I love it.
Wow. There you go.
So we go through this dilemma. The only vegetables that my daughter and wife seem to really like is green beans. And I like green beans. Green beans are fine.
Just can't have them all the time.
Right.
Right. I don't like corn.
I'm a ribeye guy as well, Mr. Boutte. Well, yeah, they'll do corn.
Oh, we got to talk about this in the short segment.
But I guess when I'm speaking of a green vegetable, corn's full of a lot of starches. It's not really that great for you if you're going
to what?
Try to eat healthy. That's funny. Brussels sprouts. Wife likes them, daughter hates them.
$30 seconds. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Friday as we head into Father's Day weekend. You want a football Friday? We'll give you a football Friday. 71 days away from week 0. 76 days away from Florida and UCF kicking off their college football seasons. Not against each other, mind you. And 83 days away from the Lions and Chiefs kicking off the 2023 NFL season. Mark Miller yesterday proclaiming the Cincinnati Bengals will win the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl champs.
He put a lot of thought into it, got out the charts and the graphs, looked at offseason acquisitions, pluses and minuses for all the teams. And Mark, ultimately, what was the deciding factor?
Joe Burrow doesn't like Taylor Swift.
Here you have it.
Swiftie.
It's an intangible that apparently some championship quality right there.
To me, yeah, because in a world where you have to conform and have to, everybody likes Taylor Swift. She's the best. Everybody's a Swiftie. Aaron Rodgers is dancing at her concerts for crying out loud.
And does that surprise you? Does that surprise you that Aaron Rodgers could be a Swiftie? I mean, honestly, does that surprise you?
David, it surprises me that any adult male's a Swiftie. Pop music doesn't do it for me. It never has. I'm impressed with her length of concerts that she gives a full-on performance. She's given Springsteen-like performances out there. So hats off to her for that. I don't care for the music, but I will give it up for any entertainer that's charging the kind of money they're charging for tickets now, and she goes out and gives a real show. Everybody that I know that's gone, friends of mine's daughters and wives and things like that, all rave about it. So for that, I give her all the credit in the world. Couldn't pay me to go see it.
So, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. The Cincinnati Bengals will win their first ever Super Bowl in part because of Taylor Swift.
There you have it.
Not getting payback on the Chiefs or, anything like that. Joe Burrow's greatness. It's just Joe Burrow's taste in music. That's a deciding factor. In all seriousness, though, I'll give you $20. I'll give you my $20. I'll give all of you my $20.
I'm still not going to the Taylor Swift concert. Not for $20.
So wait a minute. If we were doing a sports talk show out in Oakland, we'd be spending the summer trying to have one game where not one fan went through the turnstiles and went to go see an A's game. We'd pick a game, we'd circle it, we'd want literally an empty stands. Then we'd spend the rest of the summer. I don't know when she performs out in the Bay Area. Okay. We'd spend the rest of the summer trying to convince a guy, to go.
We just get the GoFundMe to an area where I would accept the money to go to the concert.
Just a reminder, on Tuesday the 14th, don't go to the A's game, and our Don't Go to the Taylor Swift concert fund is up to $833. But honestly, my $20 for everybody right now, today. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Come on, it's not going to be the Chiefs, okay? Nobody goes back to back.
Really?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Who goes back to back? Tom Brady and the Patriots 20 years ago went back to back. Anybody else go back to back? Anybody? I'm waiting.
Could be the Chiefs.
20 years. 20 years since. Okay, so I'm telling you right now, draw a line through the Chiefs. Pick somebody else.
Well, I told you it's the Bengals.
And you know what? There you go. I'm fine with that. Reasoning might be flawed, might not. Could be brilliant.
Offensive line got better.
Agreed.
Team was pretty good to begin with.
Agreed.
Receiving core is elite.
Agreed.
This Mixon thing could be a problem.
Agreed. In fact, I'm a little surprised that they haven't signed Zeke. Not that I think he's as good as Joe Mixon is right now, but that you just somebody competent. Plus, quite frankly, he is very good short yardage and running the ball inside the 10-yard line.
And he can block.
Yes, he can. And Joe likes to throw the ball a lot, and teams come after him. Might be the best blocking running back in the league.
For that reason alone, I might sign him, David.
So I'm surprised, by the way, he's still out there. I'm sure it has to do with money and, seems, Mark, as if that's really important when you're a free agent.
Well, and I think it's the opposite of sticker shock, if you know what I mean. Right now, these free agents have an expectation going into free agency that they're going to get paid. And there are several players who have just met resistance on payment. And I think that they're now having to, think about that. Your agents told you you're worth X. You think you're going in to get a certain amount of money, and it's not coming close to that.
No, it's another reason why I'm surprised Zeke hasn't signed, because it seems as if you're a running back, the price goes down daily. However the Giants are handling the Barkley negotiation, don't you think right now they're thinking, well, we don't have to offer him what we offered him right before free agency 3 months ago. He couldn't get that on the open market right now if he had a gun.
You were kind of a jerk when you said it, but you were right. Giants should go out and sign Dalvin Cook right now. You want to?
Yes, totally.
It's a jerk thing to say, but you know what GMs have to be is a little bit of a jerk sometimes.
Yeah. And if he were on the market, who would pay the going rate for him? Honestly, that's the thing I would look at Saquon and say, Saquon, whatever they've offered you, if they cut you right now, I don't think you could get it on the market.
And that's why when Josh Jacobs is saying things like, I got to look at the future of the position, and sometimes you got to do something what's right. Hey, man, you got to get paid.
Yeah.
How did it work out for Le'Veon Bell?
Not well. Not well. Now, I think teams are making a mistake with certain running backs. I do. I think, there are certain things we believe teams make a mistake with. We think they don't pay enough for a quality backup quarterback. We think they go cheap on kickers and punters. To us, if you've got a good one, pay a little bit extra and keep them. They don't lose you games, and the kicker actually helps you win them. I don't know.
I would start getting cheap on punters, David. I would start getting really cheap on punters. We don't punt anymore.
Well, there is that. By the way, if I'm saying don't pick the Chiefs because nobody repeats, how often does a team that loses the Super Bowl come back the next year and win it? There's a thing in the NFL actually about the team that loses the Super Bowl usually goes into a funk.
The first text that we got on your, my $20 simply said Cowboys.
Wow. Look at that. That's bold.
Moulton's $20. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Wish there was a way I could just save the June 16 text in their own folder. I don't know how to do that. I may have to work on that we can come back to this in 6 months and just see how inaccurate everyone is, including me.
Because 6 months ago, how many of you were picking the Eagles? And they were tied with 4 minutes to go. I mean, came pretty damn close to winning the whole thing. But a year ago at this time, they were 9-8. And also, let's be honest, we weren't sure Jalen Hurts was a franchise quarterback. He had turned into a developing starter. Yeah, we're going to stick with him. We don't know how good he's going to become. The good thing is, if he doesn't have a good 2022, we've got multiple first-round picks in 2023. We can go get ourselves a quarterback. I mean, that's how much the world has changed in the last year.
So who are you taking a chance on?
Huh.
And if your chance is like Philly and you're just saying, and by Philly, I mean Felipe saying Kansas City, there's nothing wrong with taking the champs.
I mean,
they are the odds-on favorite.
Wasn't my Super Bowl like the Bills and the Packers? Something like that? Didn't that sound about right?
That sounds right.
Pretty sure I had Buffalo winning it.
That worked out really well.
Yeah, for everybody involved. Right. Mm-hmm. So that's all. You want today to be a football Friday? 71 days away from week 0 of the college football season. That's 10 weeks tomorrow. 76 days away from that first Thursday night. Gators in Utah. UCF in action. That's 11 weeks yesterday, 76. And 83 days away from the Chiefs. I have no idea how they're going to play the Lions running around with those Super Bowl rings, which are the size of a Volkswagen. Man, that team's known for their speed, but I don't know how fast you're going to be. You're just carrying around those rings.
You got to put that on a chain and wear it around your neck. It's not going to fit on your finger.
Oh, man, it just... How come they all look like they have their head down? Well, they're wearing their ring and it's a chain around their neck. Your neck can't support the ring.
Weighs 47 pounds.
Right. They'll be really good in short yardage, but otherwise, I don't know.
And in a street brawl if they hit someone with it. But other than that, I'm not sure what good use this has.
So if you think about it, nobody repeats. It's been 20 years. And usually the team that loses the Super Bowl does not even have a good season the next year. Never mind bounces back and does something great.
21,000's the text line. You can also send us what you want for Father's Day. We have a poll question up for Father's Day. The world is your oyster, or leave me alone. Leave me alone will probably win going away. I picked the world, David, just because I couldn't have that negativity hanging over me all weekend long.
Yeah. During the commercial break, I went into the kitchen. I looked at my wife. I told her our poll question. She looked right at me. She goes, I know which way you voted. I said, damn right. Leave me alone. Love you. Have a good day.
Alone again on Father's Day. That's what we're looking for, just to be left alone and watch the U.S. Open. It's a dream, everybody. A dream. Thanks for listening.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Morning, SBF.
Hey, man. What's up?
Go Dogs, huh? With that schedule, they should really be tested prior to December.
Yeah, man. I mean, when do you go to Tennessee? Mid-November? And their schedule before that's a joke.
I would think this Conor McGregor thing is going to get worked out pretty fast. There's got to be video inside that stadium that would either prove this woman to be true or prove her not to be true.
Mm-hmm.
He was given the keys to Miami 2 years ago.
He's an absolute loser.
Yeah, he is. Gonna have to take those keys back, sir.
No, actually, that's the right city to give him to, because that city's
you know what? That's actually kind of shit like that would happen in Miami. Stuff.
No, you don't, Deadstruck. It's a wish. It's not what's going to happen. It's a wish.
Yeah, but Jake, we use a service here, so I don't get them on my Mac. I just get them on this text 180.com. It's that, so I don't know if it's possible. Trust me. I've not spent any time trying to learn this, nor do I care. But thank you. I wish it was a lot easier. Although the Dallas guy did respond with questions. So I will ask them.
Okay.
To continue this Football Friday for at least one more segment.
Or at least, 7 more minutes.
Or at least, yeah, right. You got your play?
Yeah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Ron Sirak, about a historic first round of the U.S. Open. Coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. In our 8 o'clock hour, we'll quickly look back and quickly look ahead for both the Heat and the Panthers. What to expect over the next 4 months. Where do they go from here? But it's a football Friday, 71 days away from week 0 of the college football season, 76 days away from the Gators and UCF beginning what most of us consider the week and weekend that college football season begins, and 83 days away. That looks like that could be, by the way, the first 3 rounds of like an amateur, in the U.S. Open. He opened with 71-76 and made the cut, and then he ballooned to an 83 on Saturday. 83 days away from Lions and Chiefs and the start of the NFL season. My $20, so none of you can lose anything. You cannot be wrong, and if you are, who cares? Moulton pays the price. Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
We got a Cowboys pick. We got a Niners pick. We got 3 people who text in literally a minute apart from one another that all said the same exact thing. Jets, Jets.
Wow! Cannonballing into the deep end.
And, of course, the last one added onto their Jets, because Aaron loves TS.
That's not T.S. Eliot, ladies and gentlemen. That's Taylor Swift.
Yes, it is. But the Cowboys fan that sent it in, and I mentioned the first one that came in was Cowboys, and he says, hey, after I brought it up, he says, hey, what does Dallas need to do to get out of the divisional playoffs? We know the NFC East is never the same team winning the division every year. Cowboys will have a top 5 defense and a new OC. Let me know your thoughts.
Is Dak good enough? Honestly, sir, is Dak good enough? You sure? Are you sure? Is the defense good enough to overcome if Dak is just merely above average? You know, for all the grief Kirk Cousins gets, Kirk Cousins or Dak Prescott, who do you want?
Kirk Cousins.
I'm asking the Cowboy fan, too.
I know, but I'll take Kirk Cousins. But I'm not a Dak guy.
Right. And I'm more of a Dak guy than you are.
Who would you take?
It's tough because, Kirk in the regular season's fantastic. And I did see Kirk's best playoff game in person. He outplayed Drew Brees, beat the Saints in New Orleans. I mean, I've seen him do it, Mark. I really have. That's why the whole Jared Goff thing to me is just so complexing. I saw him outplay Brees and beat the Saints in the Dome. A little help for the officials late, but he was terrific that day. And that's why when you say, you can't win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff, gotta be honest, he's got his moments. But also, I will say, besides CeeDee Lamb, give me a weapon on offense. That I actually don't think the Cowboys have enough weapons. They downgraded at tight end. They only have Pollard right now. First off, he's got to get healthy, and he's never been the guy for 20 games. He's never played with this kind of wear and tear, and defense is keying on him. And outside of CeeDee Lamb, give me a receiver that concerns a secondary. So actually, my questions about the Cowboys are offensively. But I just want to throw this out there. Because I said, hey, when you're thinking about who's going to win the Super Bowl, discount the Chiefs and discount the Eagles, which I know sounds ridiculous. But if you take Tom Brady out of the equation, you have to go back to last century to find the last team that repeated. Brady and the Patriots went back-to-back, 03 and 04. Also, last team to lose the Super Bowl one year, come back and win it the next. Brady and the Patriots lost to the Eagles, came back, beat the Rams the next year. But if you take Brady / Belichick, but Brady out of the equation, the last team to repeat, Elway and the Broncos. Last team, if you take Brady out of the equation, to lose the Super Bowl one year and win it the next, Shula, Greasy, Zonka, and the Dolphins lost Super Bowl 6 to the Cowboys and then went back-to-back.
So you're not sold on the Chiefs repeating as champions?
Well, and even more so, the Eagles not getting back to the Super Bowl.
There is a long list of teams who lost the Super Bowl who don't even make the playoffs the next year. So
that was a trend for a while. If you lost the Super Bowl, you didn't even get back into the postseason.
Which
I don't
also
know about all that with Philly, but
just also another thing as to how what Brady and Belichick did was just so darn amazing. They literally have done something that no other team in the league, A, has done in a quarter century, which has gone back to back, and B, they've done something that no other franchise has done in 50 years. If it wasn't for them, which is lose the big game one year, win it the next.
Time now for our Clutch Vodka play of the day. That's Clutch with a K. Felipe, what do you have for us today?
Dodgers down 4. Hit a grand salami in the 6th, tie it up, win it in extras. Freddie Freeman.
3-1 to Freeman. Here's the pitch. And a high fly ball to center field. The game is over. The center fielder, Lewis Robert, was in shallow. He never moved a muscle. And Freeman wins it. The Dodgers win it 5-4.
Dodgers now 39-30 this season. And if you look at the play, Lewis Roberts was really far in. And I feel like maybe he could have made an effort to try to run back, maybe make a crazy play, crazy catch. But nonetheless, he doesn't. Ball just plops on the warning track. Dodgers win 5-4.
Would have been a sac fly if he'd have caught it.
That's why he didn't move. Well, it was hit.
It would have been a sac fly, Felipe.
That's why.
That's why.
I thought there were 2 outs. That's why.
If there were 2 outs, he wouldn't have been that shallow.
True. Yeah. Whoops.
By the way, Charlie Steiner, Dodgers radio network there.
Didn't seem very excited.
Well,
right.
I think Charlie's like 70. He's done like 2,000 of these games, I mean, but it's a June Dodgers win. You know how many games we've won in the last 15 years?
And that's our Clutch Vodka play of the day. Clutch with a K. Check them out, clutchspirits.com.
So
we've got a poll question up.
Do you go with my theory? Okay. Discount the Chiefs, discount the Eagles in terms of winning the Super Bowl. All you have to do is just look at precedent. Nobody goes back to back unless Brady's the quarterback. Nobody loses the Super Bowl one year, wins it the next, unless Brady's the quarterback.
The difference is that Kansas City has this thing called a Mahomes.
Ooh.
And he's been going to these championship games a lot.
Is that like a Brady? A Mahomes?
It is.
Huh.
It's certainly trying to be like a Brady in terms of success.
Okay. Good to know. I'll keep that in mind.
And right now, and I know you've got the Chargers, but right now that division is looking a lot like some of the AFC East divisions that Brady played in.
You mean when they were 4 to 5 games better than the second best team in it?
Right.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So the hardest thing to me is to get the Chiefs to not be the 1 seed, because I do think with the new playoff format, there is a big difference between being the 1 and everybody else. And I think that will be proven every year.
You mean the hosting 5 straight AFC championship games is getting a little old for you?
Not old. Not at all. I like dynasties. I'm all for them. Miller and Moulton. We'll talk golf next with Ron Sirak right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN play of the day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the play of the day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka play of the day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So I have an ice cream problem.
Oh, okay.
Last night, the wife and daughter left for gymnastics. I'm watching the U.S. Open. Like, you know what really sounds good right now is ice cream. And I have this coupon that I got from the softball season for buy one, get one Culver's concrete mixers. So I went and got a buy one, get one concrete Culver's mixer for myself. Had both of them, took them down, rinsed the cups out, threw them right to the garbage so no evidence was there, David.
Awesome. Job well done. Outstanding. DC, we met Cowherd a couple times on Radio Row at the Super Bowl. He was awesome.
He's always been great to us. And I honestly believe if either of us walked up to him right now and said, Colin, Mark Miller did radio in Fort Myers, used to come on our show all the time. How are you? He would go,
oh,
I know you guys. He might even remember the story of him drinking on the air and getting in trouble.
He referred to us one time on his show as, quote, my guys in Fort Myers.
Yeah, he said, I'll only do 4 shows or 3, whatever. John Kincaid in Atlanta, whatever show in L.A., and my guys in Fort Myers.
Right. He goes, I don't do a lot of radio anymore. No, he was outstanding, actually. He was great.
It's funny.
He had a place in Naples. He never lived there. It was like a second, third home. He had it for a short time. And then I think he was still with ESPN. And when he went Fox, based out of LA, shortly afterwards, he got rid of the Naples place. We actually did a station event with Cowherd.
Yeah, his book signing.
Yeah, and it was a huge success. Hundreds of people we brought to his book signing.
Is that you, Felipe?
My bad. I was going to say in response to Adam, those peach milkshakes from Chick-fil-A. Oh my God.
The Bada Bing black cherries.
Yeah, that's just I've had many of those, mostly in a Manhattan.
Bing black cherries.
Yeah, DC. Him and Dan Patrick are, and really Levitard. But yeah, I mean, him and Patrick have created a little mini, Patrick has that broadcasting school and Cowherd's got a whole podcasting network that's thriving. We liked him because he came on the air and he talked college football from day one. He was the first national radio host that talked college football. Feinbaum was regional. He was national. And Miller and Moulton went, ooh, we like this. And the first 10 days he was on ESPN radio nationally, we booked him on the show.
Ron's on hold.
And he got off to a slow start. And so he was, he didn't have a lot of people calling him up and go, hey, man, love the show. So he took a liking to us. And then we got him drinks at the Super Bowl.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Next hour, quick look back, quick look ahead for both the Heat and the Panthers. Where do they go from here, trying to take that next step and win 3 more games? Ron Sirak, kind enough to join us once again, contributor to the Golf Channel. Follow his writing on ronsirak.com, Sirak. That's also how you follow him on Twitter at Ron Sirak. Ron, it's David and Mark. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Pretty exciting opening round, eh?
Well, there's a rule of thumb as a lawyer and as a talk show host. Never ask a question you don't know the answer to. But you've been doing this a while. Were you at Baltusrol in 80 when Nicholas and Weiskopf both fired 63s?
No, I wasn't there for that one. But just remember, they both opened with 63 and 8 under ended up winning that tournament.
Well, Ron, with that being said, do you think that this course was too easy? Do you think the conditions were just perfect? And how much harder can they make the LA Country Club between now and Sunday?
The degree of difficulty is going to depend a lot on the weather. The scoring conditions were perfect yesterday. It was cool. There was virtually no wind. The course was relatively soft. And it was the first round, and people were able to go out and attack it. There's a lot that they can do, but there's nothing that they can do that can compare to if the wind comes up a little bit, if the heat comes up. And the forecast is it's supposed to get into the high 80s on Saturday, which could bake the course out for Sunday. So, we're not going to see any more 62s out there, and one of the things, I tweeted this morning. One of the great things about championship golf is it's a 72-hole test, and we'll see how people back up what they did in the first round. Now, one of the measuring sticks for how good a golf course is the leaderboard that it produces, and you really can't argue with a leaderboard that's produced Ricky Fowler, Xander Schauffele, Dustin Johnson, Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau, Scotty Scheffler, and Max Homa, all are at least 2 under par. That's a pretty good leaderboard.
Well, and to stick up for the course, and I'm not one that roots for carnage. Mark wants carnage in a U.S. Open. I don't want 74 wing foot when I watch this tournament. But when Ricky shot his 62, the other 2 guys in his group, who were pretty darn good golfers, thank you very much, shot 73 and 76. And if I'm the USGA, I think I just have to live with the 62, right?
Yeah, I think one of the things that the U.S. Open does really, really well is probes that mental toughness of the players out there. Great shots are rewarded, but shots that miss their target don't have to miss by very much to end up in a bad place where it's difficult to make an up and down by. And something that could be around that was going to be in the mid-60s can become in the low 70s really easy by just missing your target by a yard or 2. And the USGA tends to do that really well all the time. I do think we're going to see the greens get firmer as the week goes on, gets faster. Hole locations will get more demanding, more challenging. It always does. And then there is that wild card in there, which is once you get to the weekend of the U.S. Open, it's the weekend of the U.S. Open, and the pressure amps up enormously.
Well, and while I like carnage, Ron, I want to at least see a chance on Sunday, and I'm hopeful with this course that, like you said, the reward is there so that someone could come from nowhere, someone could still shoot a number, and I think with a hole like 6, with the long par 3s even, this course has the ability to allow someone to maybe make a comeback. Do you agree with that?
I do, and I'll point to what I think is on the short list of the greatest rounds of golf ever played, and this is the 50th anniversary of Johnny Miller's 63 in the U.S. Open. And when you argue of when it was shot, Sunday of the U.S. Open, where it was shot, Oakmont, the hardest golf course, in my opinion, in the United States, what it accomplished to win the U.S. Open and jump over Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, Lee Trevino. We're all ahead of him on the leaderboard going into Sunday. That, and nobody saw a 63 coming at Oakmont on that Sunday, and Johnny Miller was able to go out and do it. And this golf course could produce that same sort of fireworks where somebody could come from 4 strokes off the lead to win on Sunday.
Yeah, people forget in 2018, Fleetwood nearly did that to steal the U.S. Open at Shinnecock. He posted that great final round and came up one short of Koepka, who made a bunch of pars down the stretch. He's Ron Sirak, contributor to the Golf Channel. Follow him on Twitter at Ron Sirak, S-I-R-A-K. Read his work at ronsirak.com. Hey, listen, we joked an hour or so ago, Ron, he's not going to do it, but, you know, Ricky Fowler's probably not in the U.S. Open if it wasn't for LIV. I mean, you know, he was damn near out of mainstream golf a year ago, and give him credit. He's put in the work and he's now earned his top 50 ranking, but he needed a break. And it turned out late last year, the guys leaving for the LIV gave him a break. He kept his card, and now look at him.
You know what he did on Thursday in last year's U.S. Open?
Watched.
He was an alternate all day. He just sat there waiting for somebody to drop out, you know, and it didn't happen. You know, in 2014, Ricky had started working with Butch Harmon, and in 2014, he finished in the top 5 in all 4 majors. And I really thought, okay, here comes the breakthrough for Ricky. And Ricky's one of those players, he is so good for golf. He does everything well except win, you know. He's great with the fans. He's great with the media. He's great with the sponsors. Just a really, really likable guy out there. And, you know, could he at this age get his breakthrough? You know, it's possible. And you're absolutely right. If not for Liv, he might not be getting this opportunity, but he's certainly making the most of it. And and this didn't come out exactly out of nowhere. He's been playing sort of consistent golf all year. You know, he keeps putting himself on leaderboards, not getting it done. We'll see how he backs it up now.
Ron, is it fair to make this comparison? When I look at Ricky, I think of Michelle Wie. If you think about it, Michelle Wie was a phenom between the ages of, you know, around 14, 15. She didn't win her U.S. Women's Open until like 10 or so years later. Ricky, you know, was a phenom in his early 20s. Okay, now here he is in his early 30s, in which we'll see what happens. By the way, Michelle Wie, career wins on the LPGA Tour, 5. Ricky Fowler, career wins on the PGA Tour, 5.
Yeah, you know, I think that Ricky was more prepared, more competitively tough when he turned pro with college golf than Michelle Wie was. And I always thought that was the missing wild card in the whole Wie saga, is that she'd have been better served playing more amateur golf, junior golf, and learning how to win out there. But Ricky hasn't had to battle the same sort of injury situations that Michelle Wie did, and probably didn't have to live quite as much in the public eye as Michelle Wie did. I've always felt that with Ricky, the thing that you don't know, and we'll learn a lot about this today, is how that putter holds up over 4 days. And again, I always come back to one of the really cool things about championship golf is you got to do it 4 days in a row.
Well, there's no doubt. But with Fowler and Schauffele at 8 under, how far back do you think a player can be right now to still be in this thing? Are the guys that even still in it?
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, what you do is when a couple of players separate from the field like that, you look at second place, and in your mind you say second place is first place. So you're really looking not at 8 under, but 6 under. Dustin Johnson as being the leader there, because if the top 2 guys stumble, it lets a lot of people back in. So I'd say everybody at even par, and there may be people at over. I mean, you know, what if somebody who shot 72 yesterday goes out and shoots 64 today, 65? You know, they're going to be right back in it. We're going to have a clearer picture after the second round as to who's been eliminated from having a chance to win. But they have not separated themselves far enough to have eliminated a large number of players.
Ron, I've never had a problem with guys in any sport not talking to the media. Okay. Now, I do believe if you talk to the media when you win, you need to talk to the media when you lose. But like Phil a few years ago at the PGA, he didn't do media that week. All right. Because he just thought, and he said so afterwards, he goes, I didn't have the energy. It's an hour of interviews and I needed to keep my act together. Rory didn't talk after the round yesterday. Rory never does that. The golf media making a little bit of a deal about it. Ron, I'm fine with it. You know what? Rory, how about just Rory? He hasn't won a major in 9-10 years. That's enough, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think that Rory is still licking his wounds from how this LIV PGA Tour thing is, I won't say played out, is playing out, because there's still a lot of balls in the air there and a lot of things to be decided. And I do think that Rory's taking a step back to sort of regather himself after being the public face and really putting his neck out there for over a year, being the public face as a defender of the PGA Tour. And then, and he's sort of been honest about this. He feels betrayed by the tour. He feels that they let him, they hung him out to dry. And I have no. So he's got not only that 9-year drought winning major championships hanging over him, he's also got the fact that he publicly was the face of the anti-LIV people for a year and a half, and now feels a little bit like he was betrayed and maybe a little bit embarrassed.
Ron, final question. What if, we said this earlier in the week, what if Tiger, who, by the way, has not said a word, and goodness knows if he sent out a tweet, it would get, comprehensive coverage. What if Tiger, what if Rory, what if they just said, I got to admit, I'm going to resign my membership. I can't do this. I think it would nix the deal. Is that crazy? Is that preposterous? If Tiger Woods said, I'm going to resign from the PGA Tour, I can't support this, don't you think that the rest of the tour would say, we got your back?
Yeah. What we don't know and there's so much more. What we don't know is way greater than what we do know about this whole agreement that's been reached between LIV and the PGA Tour. We don't know what the financials are of the PGA Tour and whether they have to do this for dollars and cents reasons. The medical leave of absence that Jay Monahan, the commissioner of the PGA Tour, has taken makes me think that he's got one foot out the door there. And whoever is the next commissioner of the PGA Tour is going to be subservient to Yasser Al-Rumayyan, the chairman of the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia. There's no question about that. I wouldn't be surprised if that next commissioner is a former player and is somebody that the players feel. And I'm throwing that out there because, gee, wouldn't it be weird if all of a sudden Tiger transitioned into being an executive in professional golf?
That would be something. I don't think Tiger's ever been in the room where he hasn't been the biggest alpha dog, though, but that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Ron, as always, thanks for your time. Safe travels and enjoy the rest of the tournament.
Talk to you down the road, my friend.
Ron Sirak, contributor to the Golf Channel. Read his work at ronsirak.com, S-I-R-A-K, and that's how you follow him on Twitter, Ron Sirak, S-I-R-A-K.
Does make sense what he said. Now, not Tiger. I could never see Tiger being the commissioner of the tour. It's just he's a billionaire. He doesn't need it. But I could see them wanting to turn or trying to turn to a former golfer to get the trust of the players.
You turn to somebody who's in his early to mid-50s on the Champions Tour. You turn to a Stricker, a Zach Johnson, a Jeff Sluman, somebody like that.
Who was it that played? Who was it? You remember we interviewed Norman, and the question on the bottom of that shootout pamphlet was who would be the best president on tour. It was an Ogilvy, right? That they all was it Jeff Ogilvy?
Well, who's Australian though, but I thought also was it Billy Andrade? Was that the answer? Yeah. They asked the field of the Shark shootout what golfer would make the best president. And I thought it was Andrade.
Maybe it was, but I'm just trying to think of guys a little out of the box that might want that type of look to them. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I text Taylor and Hartman and said, listen, I know this is way out there, but so maybe one of them will text back.
Text him what?
Who would make the best president? Because
it
was in the player profile thing that they handed out at the shootout.
Yep. I thought it was Ogilvy.
The only reason that because he's not American, so
I understand that. Greg Norman was the other guy that was most often answered.
Right. So did you see they barred Westwood from the Senior Open across the pond?
Really?
Because he hasn't apparently it's not just the RNA that runs the Senior Open. It's the RNA and the DP World Tour. And so the DP World Tour said, yeah, you still owe us $400,000 in fines. And Westwood's like, no, I don't. Apparently Westwood paid him $100,000 for playing in the first LIV event in June of last year.
Okay.
And then resigned his membership. And so he's like, so you can't fine me. And they, because then also it went to the arbiter. And so the DP World Tour retroactively fined all these guys. And Westwood's like, no, wait a minute, you can't do that. We were allowed to play in these events because it was in binding arbitration. You can't fine me after the fact. And I'm not paying it. And that's why all these guys resigned so they all owe, money. And so Westwood's like, I'm not paying $400,000 to play in the Senior Open. I don't know what the DP World Tour is thinking. There's 37 people at their events, and there's not a named golfer on that tour.
David's on hold. Ten seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it's the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. And, of course, our longtime home base in the 239, where the bonus hour is an hour away. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Alejandro Solana to look back and look ahead about the Heat in about 35 minutes. We're going to do the same right now with David Dwork, kind enough to join us once again. Channel 10 in Miami covers the Panthers for the hockey news, also host of the Chirpin' the Cats podcast. You can follow David on Twitter at David Dwork, DWORK. David, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this once again. Are you rested? Did you get a good night's sleep now that it's all over?
Getting there. My wife's out of town, so I'm on dad duty for a few days following the season. So up bright and early with the little guy, but the rest is coming, and it's a good feeling to know that over the horizon there will be sleep.
Did she plan that? Like, basically, when this ended, I'm done. I'm done with you for a couple of days. It's been a long season. This playoff run went a lot further than expected. You're taking over for a few days.
Yeah, I think kind of, sort of, that was part of it. It's planned either way. So if the series had gone 7 games, we would have had to scramble a little bit. Some grandparents would have been called into play. But, that's how it is. We just ride it out. I think we would have been nice. We would have been fine if it would have gone 7 games. But, that's life, right?
No doubt. And clearly they got banged up at the end, and Vegas was better at the end. That is for sure. All right. Play GM for us. If the Penguins win a late regular season game with 3 days to go in the season at home against the lowly Blackhawks, they're in and the Panthers are out. And yet at the same time, the Panthers made it all the way to the finals. If you're the GM, which side of this, seesaw are you putting more weight on?
I'm putting more weight on the positive end, which is what you saw this team and their ability, what they achieved at the end of the year, I think is kind of what you're looking for. You're always going to try to find the positives. And I think the patience and faith that was shown by particularly Bill Zito and his staff in Paul Maurice and in the team, and to just keep the ship steady as they go and to not blow things up at the trade deadline. I think that's all kind of indicative in the fact that they saw what they were hoping to see eventually when this team came together at the end of the year. That was the reason they hired Paul Maurice. That was the reason that, they pulled the trigger on the Matthew Tkachuk, Jonathan Huberdeau trade. They wanted to get grittier. They wanted to get tougher. Obviously, that fell into their lap. But it just kind of fell into play with everything that they were trying to do with what Bill Zito was building when he brought in players like Colin White and Nick Cousins in the offseason. And I think you're going to see kind of the team continue to shape itself in that mold moving forward now that Bill Zito is going to have a little bit of money to play with this offseason. So I think, they viewed the regular season, which was, very challenging and tumultuous at times. It was something they knew was going to be a challenge. They knew with Patrick Hornquist's contract, it was going to make things very difficult for them this year. That you had the injury to Anthony Duclair, injuries to Barkov, to Bennett, to Anton Lundell, Aaron Ekblad. So it was a very challenging year that came out almost smelling like roses at the end because of what they were able to do pulling together. So I think that they're going to be pretty happy moving forward, and I think they're going to just build around what they've got right now, which is a pretty solid core that clearly can succeed in the playoffs.
That's the thing, David, I was looking at. When you look at the team, there's a handful of unrestricted free agents, and the defenseman Godos is probably the biggest one to retrain, maybe the backup goaltender, but it's not like there are key parts up there on free agents that they got to dump a lot of money into, correct?
No, for sure. The majority of the team is coming back. You don't have a lot of key pieces. You don't really have any key pieces that aren't coming back. You mentioned Radko Gudas being the main one, but he's not going to be a high-priced free agent. He wants to stay here. He told me before the playoffs that if it was up to him, he'd retire with the Panthers, if they can work it out on both sides. But there's clearly a lot of mutual love and interest from the two of them. But, they're going to basically be able to run it back, and Bill Zito's going to have a chance to replenish some of the team's depth that they lost last year when they lost guys like Giroux and Marchment, Noah Chari, all those free agents that left before last season. So, no, I'm really curious and anxious to see exactly what Bill Zito does, just because to this point, you could argue that there's no GM in the NHL that's done a better job than Bill Zito has with the Panthers since he was hired prior to the 2020 season. So I'm just curious to see how it goes out because, we've seen what this Panthers team can do in terms of their potential. When you give a guy like Bill Zito a chance to, give it a little bit more armor on the outside and improve that depth. We saw how good of a team they could be 2 years ago when they won the President's Trophy with a lot of depth. Now with this coaching style, you would think the sky's the limit, right? As long as the goaltending holds up. That's always my caveat, as long as the goaltending holds up.
Well, you took me to where I was going to go. If you're the Panthers, how much can you count on Spencer Knight? He was supposed to be the goalie of the future, and for a moment he was, and now obviously he's had his difficulties. He had to step away from the team in the second half of the season. He was not a part of any of this. If you're the Panthers, can you count on him to be, Bob's 1B or solid backup, or do you have to, re-sign the guy who basically got you to the playoffs?
Yeah, I think you're discussing a issue that Bill Zito is going to have to deal with over the next couple of weeks because it's my understanding that while the expectation is that Spencer Knight will be with the team next season, nothing is 100% guaranteed at this moment. There's still some details that need to be worked out, and that could be tricky for the Panthers only because, if Spencer Knight's there, that's great. He's your 1B. He's your potential goalie of the future. When he comes back, it's not like his skills are going to be diminished. So the expectation would be that he could kind of resume that path. But he has to get back first. And that, like I said, it's an expectation. Spencer's been through the program. He seems to be doing well by all accounts. He was, out with some friends at the Belmont Stakes, which, is probably very healthy and good for him. But until that's guaranteed, now Florida has a potential issue because if Spencer does not come back, which I said a couple times is not the expectation. They think he will come back, but off the chance that he doesn't, suddenly you need to fill that hole. Whereas right now you have Sergei Bobrovsky under contract. If Spencer Knight isn't there, suddenly you need to get your number 2 goalie and you need to get a number 3 goalie because Alex Lyon is also an unrestricted free agent. And we saw how big of a part that can play because look at what Alex Lyon did as the 3rd goalie. He came in and basically saved the season during the last few weeks of the regular season. So it's something that the Panthers, I'm sure that they're thinking about right now because, like I just said, goaltending depth is huge to an NHL team, particularly one that thinks they're going to compete for playoffs and a Stanley Cup. So that's something that Bill Zito really has to deal with and make a decision on. Or maybe they'll get clarification from Spencer Knight between now and July 1st. We don't know that. There's a lot that I don't know in that situation, but it's something that, yes, it is very important that they're going to have to deal with. I wish I had a more concrete answer for you because I know that's not really answering your question. But in terms of the knowledge that we have right now, that's the situation that they're going to be dealing with heading into free agency in a couple Saturdays.
In your answer about Gatto saying he wants to stay and retire as a Panther, that's impressive to me. And I think that stems from ownership. I'm just curious that with what Viola's done there and Zito and the whole group, how much has that changed the perception from inside the locker room? Because I don't remember 5 years ago guys saying, I want to retire as a Florida Panther, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, what Mr. Viola and Mr. Sifu have done since taking over the team has been great. They've really turned the culture around in that, like when Vinny Viola bought the team, there were years where the Panthers, if you remember, when they surprisingly made the playoffs in 2012, heading into that season, they had to spend money just to reach the cap floor. They were spending so little. So that's how much has changed with this team now. Suddenly you've got it where the team is up against the cap and they can't make any moves because they've spent all their money already. You've got a team where people, like Radko Gudas, other players, Panthers, lifers, Ekblad, Barkov, they want to stay here. Barkov signed through 2030. It's a complete different situation than we've seen with the Panthers, really ever in its history. And yeah, it all comes down to ownership, changing everything, making the right decisions. Like I keep going back to the decision by Matt Caldwell and his crew to hire Bill Zito because he's just done a remarkable job. Hopefully he gets the recognition I believe he deserves and wins GM of the year this year, which we'll find out, I think, 2 Mondays from now at the NHL Award Show in Nashville. But yeah, between what the Violas have done, pumping money into this team and supporting this team and making the correct decisions, whether it be Bill Zito or Paul Maurice as the head coach, it's been a complete turnaround from what we've seen the majority of the franchise's existence in South Florida. And as somebody who's followed this team since its inception, who's covered this team for over a decade, it's great to see, and it's great to know that this is something built to sustain success for the next several years at least, which is a great thing for this franchise.
Well, 4 straight playoff appearances and now finally a deep playoff run. It had been over a quarter of a century. David, we just hope that the cement has hardened, if you know what I mean. If the franchise got off to such a great start, then went through such a rough period, we hope that, we will look back 10, 15, 20 years from now and go, it all started in the early 2020s. Do you think we will?
Based off of the way that it's being built now, yeah, it looks like they're doing the right thing. They started from the ground with foundational pieces. They're putting a lot of faith around that when, they brought in the support of the core. When you talk about Bennett's and Reinhardt's, signing guys like Verhaeghe and Duclair, bringing in like Gus Forsling, Brendan Montour, and then, like I said, locking up the guys like Barkov and Ekblad, making the right decisions in the front office. They're making all these decisions that really build around. When you talk about like setting the table for a long run, look at like what Tampa did. Tampa built it strong early. They went to a Stanley Cup final early, and then they built it the right way when they brought in Julian Brisebois and they built this team that they have now. So they established their fan base with early success, and now they've really established themselves as a premier franchise in Florida. And I think with the Panthers, you're starting to see something similar. They're building the success from the ground up. Like you said, 4 straight playoff appearances, a long playoff run. It's building momentum. As long as they keep that going, which it looks like, at least on paper, they should be able to sustain it. And yeah, the future would seemingly be quite bright for South Florida hockey for the first time in, like you said, a quarter century.
David, all the best with the little one over the next couple of days. Happy Father's Day. Thank you so much for your contributions over the past few months, and enjoy the off season.
You as well, fellas. We'll be talking about hockey again in just a few weeks because this off season is going to be pretty short.
David Dwork, Channel 10 in Miami, covers the Panthers for the Hockey News. Also hosts Chirpin' the Cats. It's a Florida Panthers podcast. Follow him on Twitter at David Dwork. That's DWORK. And Mark, the one thing we know, The road to the Stanley Cup Finals in the Eastern Conference goes through the state of Florida. 4 years in a row, the representative in the finals has come out of this state.
Well, when you think, hockey, you think Florida.
No doubt. Absolutely. Not Minnesota, not New England.
Well, certainly not Minnesota. Not in professional hockey, that's for certain.
Just saying, 10,000 lakes.
No, I've got you. That's why it's so ironic that the Wild have not been able to do anything since coming back into the league.
They're not happy about it either. Miller and Moulton. We'll do this same look back, look ahead with the Heat in 25 minutes.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Is Marty's relationship with DraftKings or is it the other one?
DraftKings, I think. I don't know. I called him and emailed him yesterday. I've sold 2 sponsorships. I just need contracts. Can't get a response.
That can't even get a response. Really? Who's the other one?
Diamond District's going to sponsor the bonus hour.
Hot damn.
Jason wants 1 lock. He's going to bet. I did $1,000 a month for 6 months. Not a big sponsorship, but it's the bonus hour. What are we going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Father's Day Sunday, our poll questions about Father's Day. We don't do a poll question every day. I know we should.
We really should, and we should actually spend time before the show discussing what it's going to be.
I know, and then in theory, it'd be popular, it'd be sponsorable. That's just not how we roll, Mark. We're not popular, and, well, we don't have sponsors. But the poll questions about Father's Day. What do you want for Father's Day? We give you 2 choices, Dad. A, the world's your oyster, baby. Anything and everything can happen. You ask for it, boom. B, leave me alone.
Not a lot of votes early, David, because we've not really promoted the poll question like we are right now.
Right.
But 98%, or I'm sorry, 89%, a little dyslexia just hit me there. 89% of the vote is leave me alone.
Correct. Yep. Those early voting, racing to the polls, just leave me alone.
And I was probably torn on this one, and I voted the world as my oyster just to give them some votes.
Oh, I know. You were being nice.
Me and one other guy, apparently. No one else wants to spend any time with their family on Father's Day. You all want to be left alone. You're all horrible people. At least you're honest, though.
And remember, the world is your oyster. I mean, that's anything and everything's possible. With the special someone in your life also. I mean, the world's your oyster, man. And you're like, nah, I'm good. Just give me, 8 hours just by myself. Maybe a couple boxes of Cheez-Its, a 6-pack. I'm good.
Much as you drank 2 boxes of Cheez-Its and a 6-pack, you'd be liquored up.
Well, I might need more than 2 boxes, though. I mean, U.S. Open, West Coast Golf. I mean, this is
right. Munchies are still munchies.
Darn right they are. Plus, Mark, this just in, I get 2nd and 3rd wins while doing munchies. Okay, it's almost as if I'm like Cheech and Chong, and I'm not. I've never touched this stuff. You know that, but I snack like I smoke. A ton of weed. That's how I snack.
You and I are both nervous snackers.
Yes.
And I don't mean that we're nervous, but when we watch a sporting event,
yep,
the immediate thought is, what's in the pantry? What's in the fridge?
Yep.
Commercial break means give me something to eat for these 2.5 minutes until the television comes back on with sports.
Yep. Phil short sides himself trying to protect a lead. I got to get up and go to the fridge, baby.
Where are those grapes?
Darn. Just, where are the carbs? We only have 2 bags of chips and 2 boxes of Cheez-Its. They got 11 more holes to go. This might not be enough. So, I might have to tomorrow make sure there's enough carbs in the pantry.
Fowler and Schauffele, do they shoot par or better today?
Ooh, you threw 70 out there as an option. I think Schauffele will. In fact, I was kind of kicking myself that I didn't pick him, but He's boring. Okay. But then again, I picked Cantlay as one of my 4. And could you be any more boring than Patrick Cantlay? Not only is he boring, he's slow. But, Shoffley's a West Coast guy, and he's been playing well. And so I'm very curious about Ricky. Can Ricky go 4 rounds here? Not just the great first round and then just kind of slowly fade away. Right now, what do you if you had to throw this out there, winning score, you think it'll get to 15 under?
I think it'll get to 12.
Okay. So then an even par 7, if you think it's only going to go to 12 and you're already at 8, you can throw a 70 out there and be fine. You can throw a 71
after 36, if you know what I mean.
Right. You can even throw a 71 up on the board today and be okay. The guy nobody's talking about is DJ. For whatever reason, he faded at the PGA after a really good opening round. He won a tournament a little over a month ago on LIV. This just in, he's kind of got a good record in the majors. Finished second in this event. Won this event. He's got that cut off the tee, which he can hit at about 300, 310 and hit when he's playing well every fairway. Speaking of hitting fairways yesterday, how about the way Rory was driving the ball yesterday? Wow. 350 to 380 yards off the tee. Right down the pipe. Man. I mean, they hit 530, 550-yard holes. He's hitting wedge, 9-iron. My goodness. And he can't win.
It's almost like he can't get out of his own way.
It's when you see him hit the ball like he did yesterday and you go, he's gone 9 years without winning a major. Are you serious?
Right, but then he whiffed on 18.
Ah, come on. The ball was in hay or whatever.
I understand that. But
made the 11-footer for bogey, though. That impressed me. I'm more worried about his putter than I am the chipper. So,
and you should be. And you should be worried about his wedge play as much as anything else.
Hit a couple of good ones yesterday.
Start coming on Sunday, the wedge play goes away.
It does. He hit some good ones yesterday.
He played great yesterday.
Yeah. Hit the ball. Wow. Don't get me wrong. Okay. He's not going to contend on Sunday. But 53-year-old Phil Mickelson was under par yesterday and did not birdie a par 5. I mean, I know he's toe jam now, but that's kind of impressive.
Got heckled for about 30 seconds on the 9th hole, his 18th.
Yes, he did.
Someone in a sombrero and a fake mustache started giving it to him, blaming him for everything that's wrong with golf.
Yep.
And the crowd was basically telling the guy to shut up. And when they got the heckler out of there, Phil gave his thumbs up to the crowd, and the crowd responded with pretty good applause and a lot of let's go Phil. And he's not as hated as the golf media makes him out to be.
I do think the Masters was a breakthrough. Okay. And also, quite frankly, well, how can he be Satan if the PGA Tour just said they formed an alliance with Satan?
And he did have his smirky tweet when the whole thing started, but when he's even, asked yesterday, no, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm trying to get in contention for this tournament. There'll be a time when I talk about it, but it's not now. So he's learned a little PR skills. Because he wants to talk, David.
Oh, my goodness, does he want to talk? I'll make a prediction, by the way, about Phil. Phil's going to have to go on 60 Minutes in about 2 months. Whenever that book's coming out in mid to late August, Phil's going to have to get ahead of it.
I can't wait to get my hands on that book.
Because apparently I mean, let's be honest. Okay. They cut Phil a break because he's Phil. All right. And Phil should have gone to jail too for insider trading. I mean, come on now. But they sent the other guy instead. And Phil ratted him out, gave him all the info. So not only is he Satan, he's a snake. And he's my favorite golfer.
Miller and Moulton. Alejandro Solana will join us next to talk about the Heat, where they're going next. Is Bradley Beal going to be playing for the Heat? We'll find out. Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I feel like I should save this as a poll question for either the bonus hour or maybe next week. But I have a case that the greatest carb of all time is a potato.
The potato.
The potato is the greatest carb of all time. Better than bread, better than rice, the potato.
Well, it's versatile. So
Can be used at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Well, so can bread, but You got it, Alejandro?
No.
Dang. Ten seconds.
Call him.
Gotcha.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. That's when the bonus hour ensues in the 239. Final segment of the show and of the week in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. Hope you've had a good week. Thanks for beginning your Friday with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. And an early happy Father's Day to those of which it applies. And in honor of Father's Day, we have a poll question. Okay, Dad. You can have one of two lives on Sunday. A, the world is your oyster. Anything you want. B, just leave me alone. I'm good.
I love the people who comment. Like, it's not a tough question. And we get this text. The world is my oyster, but couldn't you request to be left alone after a little time with your family, the best of both worlds? It's the whole point of the question. You have to make a decision. It's right. One or the other. We all know if you had your way, yeah, you'd spend a little time with your family, kick them out, and watch the U.S. Open. We get it.
Alejandro Solana does pre and post on the Heat Radio Network. He's also part of 560 QAM in Miami. You can follow him on Twitter at Alex M. Solana, Solana. Alejandro, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning. Would have enjoyed a Game 6 last night in Miami, but just not the way things ended up shaking up.
No, that is for sure. Listen, a series of questions here. Is this team, with a healthy Tyler Hero, do you believe this team can win a title? Or do you think they need to get better?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the big question right now, right? Had Tyler Hero been healthy during this playoff run, would they have had enough to win a title? I don't know. It's a tough question. I think Tyler Hero would have helped in such a massive way. I think it's hard to argue any other way, right? That he would have helped in such a huge way in the NBA Finals. Especially for that matchup, right? Because you saw there were opportunities to knock down jumpers, and our guys kind of just got a little cold, and that's what happened, right? He just kind of ran out of juice. But I think ultimately that the Heat feel like this window right now, they need to add another big-time player, and Tyler Hero could end up being a big-time player, right? I think we haven't seen his ceiling yet. He's still very young. There's a reason the Heat extended him and gave him the amount of money that they did because they see something in him. But I still think the Miami Heat are probably looking bigger in this offseason. We've all seen the reports, Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard, whatever. And I just think ultimately, Tyler Hero is such an attractive trade piece, an asset, that he may end up being the one that gets moved out for an upgrade. And, I think that's the answer that we're probably looking for, right? An upgrade to pair Jimmy and Bam with another star or superstar, because I don't think the Heat think that right now this team is good enough to get over the hump.
What else, in your estimation, what are the best pieces they have other than Hero? If they're trying to make a big trade and you're going to keep Bam and you're going to keep Jimmy, what do they have besides Hero that they can deal?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, Tyler Hero obviously is an incredible asset. They do have the potential to send out 3 first-round picks as well. One of them is a protected pick with Oklahoma City, but they can, do some behind-the-scenes stuff with the Thunder and make that pick available for them to trade. So, 3 first-round picks, Tyler Hero. You're looking at Duncan Robinson right now. I know his contract is a little hectic, but he certainly did himself some favors this postseason, improving his stock, right? I think people realize that Duncan Robinson is still a very interesting player and somebody who can help a team, especially a team that he's shooting. He does make a lot of money. I think he makes around $17 million next year, and he's still on the hook for another 3 seasons, including next season. So, that's still a pretty lucrative contract. But when trying to trade for larger contracts, you got to send out a lot of money too. And Duncan Robinson is certainly somebody that I think teams would be interested in around the league. Kyle Lowry, he's on the hook for $30 million next year, but it is an expiring deal. That's always interesting because whenever you have to send out a lot of salary, teams are always interested in taking on an expiring deal, right? Especially teams who are maybe not tanking, but are kind of resetting things, retooling things, and looking to get money off their books. And then look, Caleb Martin, he's under contract for another year. Then he has a player option. You want to talk about a guy who raised his stock in a huge way? It's Caleb Martin, right? Everybody was talking about him after the Eastern Conference Finals. He's on a really team-friendly deal right now. That's another guy that certainly could help you land, a big-time player. Max Strus and Gabe Vincent, they're both going to be unrestricted free agents this offseason, but there's always a potential for sign-and trades with those guys. Obviously, starting with the Heat on this postseason run, there's a lot of people who are going to be interested in paying them and be interested in their services. So, just going down that list, and there's a couple other. Jovic, obviously, young guy who is has a lot of potential. I think the Heat see a lot of potential in him. Was a first-round pick. So, there's definitely a lot of opportunity for the Miami Heat to be able to make some moves with the guys that they have on their roster right now.
Talking with Alejandro Solana, pre and post Heat Radio Network, also QAM in Miami. Follow him on Twitter, Alex, the letter M, Solana, Solana. Well, if you just do simple math, these salaries have to match up for these NBA deals. Lillard and Beal, we're talking around 50. Well, if you take Hero and Lowry and put them together, you got 50. And that Lowry's contract expiring in a year. So both Portland and or Washington would get out of 3+ years of future contracts, that they'd have with Lillard and Beal. So that's why Lowry's enticing. Plus they could cut them, they could ship them, and the first round picks. Let me ask you this, though. Let's just say that's the deal for either one. It's Lowry, it's Hero, it's picks, and it's Lillard or Beal. Is that enough? Because what was definitely apparent down the stretch in these playoffs, man, the Heat are small.
Yeah, it's a good point. Look, there's a lot of people. I'm sure you heard this, right? Bam Adebayo is not a true center. Right? I'm sure you've heard that. A lot of people want to see Bam get paired up with, a true center and allow him to play the 4. I'm not somebody that subscribes to that notion. I think the reason why your team is so good, especially defensively, is because you're anchored by Bam Adebayo. Would I like to see the Heat, have more depth at the center position? Sure. You saw Cody Zeller's minutes. They weren't good. And Dwayne Dedmon was an absolute disaster this year. I'd love to see the Heat get bigger. And there's no doubt, right? Denver kind of set the standard. They have the best big man in the league. You got to have more depth at the center position. I'm with everybody, but I don't see the Heat spending big time money on a center. I just don't see it because they're going to end up playing Bam at the 5. And we all know that. That's just the way it's going to work, right? He's so versatile. So I do think more than a center, like you said, we saw they need a scorer, man. Like, they need somebody who can consistently drop them 25, 30 points, a volume scorer. They need a bucket getter. I mean, that's just what they need. And yeah, I think Lillard and I think or Beal would be enough. I don't know how likely it is that Damian Lillard is actually going to be available for trade. I don't know. I like to imagine he is. All signs point to Portland is going to, kind of go for a youth movement, but who knows, right? Because we've been having this conversation forever. Brian Geltzeiler from NBA Radio was actually on with us on QAM yesterday, and he said not that he wasn't making a report. He wasn't saying that he was told by a source, but he was just saying his gut feeling is that Lillard will be available by Monday for a trade, that Portland is going to start working behind the scenes sooner rather than later. So if that's the case, right, and Damian Lillard wants to come to Miami, that's a huge help because, they probably owe it to him to find a trade partner that suits him more than it suits them. And I think Miami does have the capabilities to make a trade like that happen. So, I mean, you're talking about a team this year that made a run with Gabe Vincent and Max Strus. Look, those guys are tremendous players. They're going to go get paid this offseason. And I think, you saw that they're good players, right? They're not just these guys that we group together as undrafted guys like ESPN was doing all postseason long. Eric Spoelstra called it disrespectful. But they're not Dame Lillard. I mean, you're talking about a guy coming off the highest career average per game this season, and arguably a top 5 player in the last decade in Dame Lillard. So, like, you add Dame Lillard to Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and then you just let Eric Spoelstra and the Heat go find pieces to put around them. I mean, they made the run with Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent, and Max Strus and Duncan Robinson, really, in the last 2 rounds. Like, they were able to figure it out with that team. How are they not going to be able to figure it out with Damian Lillard? Like, they need scoring. And to me, that if that guy is available, that's who you go get. You trade anything you possibly can outside of Jimmy and Bam to get him. Lillard, I think, is the one where you scratch your head. I think ultimately, because he has a no-trade clause, he can kind of, dictate where he goes. And because of that, I don't think the market, we've been reading the reports, right? The market isn't going to be as lucrative for a trade for Bradley Beal, which is why the Heat may end up going that route. And I think that works as well. I mean, the dude's a star. He's a star. You know what you're getting with Bradley Beal. He probably won't mind, being the third guy because he's tired of being on a losing team. There's been links to him in Miami as well. So I think either of those guys, they're enough to get you over the hump. Obviously, then you have to go out. You have to fill out the roster. You have to hope that, there's a decent market of veterans that want to come and join your team, but they will, right? I mean, you have Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and then one other star or superstar. People are going to want to come play in Miami. We've seen that time and time again. There's precedent there.
Well, and Alejandro, to your point at the beginning of that about Bam, one, it was a Jokic. There's a Jokic problem that everybody in the league has, first and foremost.
Right.
And secondly, they didn't lose this series because they played best defense. You go back to the Boston series, they only allowed over 110 points in the conference finals and the finals twice, one at 110, and I think Boston got to 116 one other time. I mean, their defense is fine. So I think this trying to say Bam's not a 5 is a little ludicrous to even speak of because defensively they did just fine, Alejandro.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, there's certainly an argument to be had that they lack size down low, right? But you're right. I mean, they're going up against the best center in 20 years in the NBA. I mean, Jokic is just so good, man. And I'm not jumping on here to make some crazy asinine take about him being the greatest center in the history of the NBA. But I don't think it's crazy to insinuate that once his career's done, he's going to be in the argument, right? With Hakeem's, with the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, with Shaq. Like, he's going to be in the argument at some point. He's so gifted. He's so versatile. We've never seen a player like him who can do everything down low, who can also put it on the floor, who does it with his arms bleeding the entire time, and who frankly does it like he doesn't even care. Like he's just lumbering up and down the flight. It's crazy. And yeah, I mean, you have to deal with that. And you're right, Bam played as good as anybody in the NBA Finals. So again, it's fair to say the Heat lack some size. It's definitely fair to say that they could use an adjustment behind Bam coming off the bench. We thought it was going to be Omer Yurtseven, got injured, and then when he finally was healthy, Eric Spoelstra wanted nothing to do with him on the court, had the quickest leash on him. So I'm with you. The Heat played incredibly defensively. We've seen time and time again that with Bam Adebayo as the anchor of this team on the defensive end, they're good, man. Like he is defensive player of the year caliber year after year. And like I said, they're going to play Bam at the 5 in the most crucial minutes of every game, no matter who's on that damn roster. That's just the way Eric Spoelstra operates. That's the way he likes his defense to be ran. It allows them to do more stuff on the offensive end as well. So this whole idea of them going after Brook Lopez, they need to pair Bam with a true center. Unless you can somehow figure out a way to trade for Joel Embiid because he wants to force his way here, which I don't see happening. It's a ridiculous question. Bam Adebayo is your starting center next season.
Alejandro Solana, pre and post on the Heat Radio Network, part of 560 QAM in Miami. Follow him on Twitter, Alex, the letter M, Solana, Solana. Alejandro, thanks so much. Have a great offseason. We'll talk to you down the road. Miller and Moulton, happy Father's Day, everyone. The bonus hour is next.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Keep moving, man. You just got to keep moving, and so you just have to make do with what you got until that scene's done, so we can go to this other scene. So improvise.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Bonus hour, Miller and Moulton on this Friday. It's been a football Friday at times. I mean, the magic numbers are 71, 76, and 83. 71 days till week 0. 76 days till Gators and Knights of UCF kick off their seasons. That final day of August. And 83 days away from Lions and Chiefs. So 10, 11, and 12 weeks, basically, till we're getting it on. Let's go. Let's do this. I threw out there earlier my $20 who's going to win the Super Bowl, and I just want to let you know it's not going to be the Chiefs and it's not going to be the Eagles. Because in the last 25 years, the only team that's been able to repeat had Tom Brady on it. And in the last 50 years, the only team that lost the Super Bowl one year came back and won it in the next had Tom Brady on it.
You know the Chiefs have a Patrick Mahomes.
I understand that. And he's amazing. He is. You know what he's not? He's not a Tom Brady.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. But I'm just saying, teams don't go back-to-back. Last one to do it, the Patriots, nearly 20 years ago, 03-04. And outside of the Patriots, a handful of years ago when they lost to the Eagles and then came back the next year and beat the Rams in what was really their swan song, as Brady was gone a year later. I mean, that's the last team to lose the big game, come back, win the big game. So there's a lot going against both the Chiefs and the Eagles, even though they're definitely two of the 5 best teams in the league.
Would have been a fun football poll question today. What's more likely to happen? The Chiefs repeat as Super Bowl champions.
Ooh.
The Eagles return to the Super Bowl.
Ooh. We could do that next week.
There is no timestamp on that poll question. I mean,
right.
There is. It's like September.
Oh, it's in 83 days. Okay, it's when the Chiefs are hosting the Lions. So I don't know how many shows we have in between then. Got to be about 60, something like that, 50 at least. So, yeah, we could throw that out there. But instead, we went with a Father's Day poll question.
And we realized something today, that fathers don't like their families as much as mothers like their families.
Although I have to admit, I actually think moms would answer this question a lot more like dads. We just never posed the question the way we did.
That is true. That is true. Because I do believe my wife's a big fan of being left alone, at least for periods of time.
So we give you 2 choices. What do you want for Father's Day? Choice A, you can get any damn thing you want. World's your oyster, baby. And yes, that's right. Anything you want. Go
With
crazy.
the exception of being left alone.
Right. Because that's choice B. No, I'm good. Leave me alone. You take your world and your oyster and you just keep it to your damn self.
Felipe, have you purchased a gift yet for your father for Father's Day?
No.
Are you going home for Father's Day?
Yes.
That was a very lukewarm answer.
It was kind of a...
So you didn't even send a card?
People still send cards?
Yes. As a matter of fact, they do. And you know who really like getting them? Mothers and fathers on Father's Day and Mother's Day.
Here's a card. Check your texts. Boom. Instant card.
No,
Wow.
it's actually it's the lazy card.
Slap on a meme and a GIF. Love you, Pops.
And you think that's good enough, taking 5 seconds out of your day, spending zero money, zero time, and basically zero effort to honor your father on Father's Day. You think that cuts it.
Once again, what cuts it for you is not what cuts it for dad. And the day is about who?
And your ability to get a card out has ended. It's over. There's nothing you can do to get a card there by Sunday unless you drive it there personally.
Well, I might do that. Is my presence there a gift?
No.
No,
No, it's a burden.
It's a minimum
Right.
requirement.
It's a burden on your mother.
We've only talked about it the whole day, you know.
It's a minimum requirement. Okay. As long as you're just 2.5 hours away, it's a minimum requirement.
Felipe, here's the thing. When you were a college student, the meme, the text, you could get away with. You are no longer a college student. You're considered an adult now. And adults do adult things, like send cards.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm a young adult. Young adults handle things differently.
No. You're not a young adult anymore. You're out of college.
Cards are bittersweet, but
Bittersweet. Why? Did he die? What's bittersweet about a Father's Day card? We're really trying to help you here. By the way, this just in, Felipe. The two guys talking to you are dads. You're not. I mean, I know you. We don't have a lot of stock with you. You know, we're not very smart about sports in your eyes. We get that. And we'll you know what? We'll own up to that. Fine. We are dads, though. We this topic we know better than you. We really do. We've been you, and now we're your dad.
And I can tell you that when my son doesn't send me a Father's Day card, I'm like, what the hell?
okay. But a Mother's Day card, because here Hops goes in the Twitch chat. I don't send cards to men.
Then, well, first off, I don't know how old Hops is. I don't know if Hops' father is still with us. And if he doesn't send his father a Father's Day card, I don't know if that makes him a good person or not. So to take someone in the Twitch chat room's advice who goes by a nickname isn't necessarily your best judge of what's right and wrong.
When I have two fathers with full names right in front of me.
Will your daughter get you a card, David?
I sure hope so.
Does she usually?
Have to think about that. Yes. Put it this way. She did when she was younger. Like when she lived in the house, she did. I'm trying to think about the last few years if I get a card from her or not. I've actually saved. See, that's the other thing, Felipe. Dads will actually save a card from their kid.
In fact, I could show you all of the cards I have from my son and daughter. All of them. Birthday, Father's Day. Yeah, David's right.
And Felipe, we do this because one of two things has happened. Okay. Either you've become a disappointment. Okay. And we have to somehow reconcile that. And so we will look back at some of your best days and efforts. And it may just be 2 or 3 cards that you sent and nice things that you wrote in them. And so we will read those cards and we will go, well, I guess they're not too bad. Okay. Or you've been terrific and we're disappointing. Okay. And we're having to reconcile as we're on the back nine of life. Okay. Our disappointment in ourselves and in our life. And then we read the card and we go, well, I must not have been too bad.
You know, I know my dad, and he would be the type of person to keep a card. So maybe you guys are onto something.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah.
Dad, we're trying, Dad. Okay, Mom, Grandma, we have done all we could these last 4 weeks with Mother's Day and Father's Day. We have tried so hard.
Like, does your dad get a hold of you before Mother's Day and say, did you send your mom a card? Did you get a card? Did you get her a gift before birthdays and Mother's Days? Does your dad still remind you?
Yes.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Now, Mom didn't remind you about Father's Day, did she?
No, she's too busy. She knows I know Father's Day is coming up. She doesn't need to explain that to me.
Are you sure you know Father's Day's coming up?
Yes, actually.
It's Sunday.
Because my father has reminded me that Father's Day is coming up.
He might want a card.
By the way, your grandfather's still with you?
Yes.
Yeah, both Grandma and Grandpa, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to give Grandpa a little something, too.
Which I think's a crock.
I just said a little something.
No, I know. But this whole thing of they've already tried to invent these Hallmark Grandparents' Day. He's your grandfather.
Yes.
You can wish him a happy Father's Day, but I don't think you have to get the grandparents gifts. That's the job of your parents to buy the grandparents a gift.
But he's the father of all fathers in the family.
And
his title has father in his name.
He's the Don.
He's the Don. Exactly.
I don't buy it.
I'm not a Grandfather's Day person or Grandmother's Day person. I'm not. I'm just saying on Father's or Mother's Day, I think it's okay to also acknowledge the oldest generation.
Acknowledge, yes. Gift, I don't think it's necessary.
No, I didn't. Just acknowledge. That's all. That's
By the way,
all. Figure something out. That's all.
He's also one of the 16 people who watches every single Marlins game on TV. So I might have to bring a microphone this Sunday and just talk to him about Marlins baseball.
You're bringing a microphone?
Yeah, I don't know what.
Oh, he can talk about Marlins baseball. I mean,
you guys going to do a podcast?
Maybe. Maybe. I think he's not getting any younger.
I think one of your family's voices on this show is enough, quite frankly.
Listen.
Wait. What does the microphone have to do with this? Hey, happy Father's Day. Great to be here.
Now tell me everything about baseball.
I'm Felipe Alvarez, and I'm with my dad this Father's Day, and I'm going to interview him for nobody.
Dad,
how do you like the card that I got you? Dad, how good of a son have I been? Dad,
how about the Marlins?
More about me.
All right, Dad, let's talk about the Marlins.
All right, do you like Yuri's stuff?
Microphone. Wow. Once again, this goes back a year. I'm telling you, he would have loved the soap on a rope. The microphone soap on a rope would have been huge.
Oh my gosh, you did not
have been huge.
The soap on a rope.
Text that came in here in the last couple of minutes. This kid is digging his grave deeper and deeper. I'm not a dad, but I'm appalled by his attitude and outlook. Wife always tells me don't get her a card. Waste of money, she says. I always get her one anyhow. I think that's a safe note.
Yep. And guess what? She's still there. Try it the other way and see how it works.
This guy says I'm 39. My dad still gets a card from me and a grandpa card from my kids. Looks like you have a Sunday road trip planned, Felipe, and you didn't even realize it.
Might have to stop at CVS after the show.
Hell, you can go to the dollar store. This is the whole thing. It doesn't have to be the $6 card. You can Happy Father's Day, write something in there poetic and call it a day. It's not that hard. Unbelievable. Get a Father's Day card for your dad. That's all we're saying. Miller and Moulton, the good, the bad, and the ugly in 25 minutes right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I'd hope not, Sonny. I would hope that Philly's girlfriend's going to go see her father for Father's Day. I'm sure she already bought him a card.
They're staying in Fort Myers Sunday, Monday.
Oh, they're coming here for Father's Day.
They're coming here. I think she bought him a hotel. Like bought them a hotel. Mom and dad.
Well, they can just stay at her place. She can stay at yours.
Well, it ain't that easy.
It's a bummer, Chaz. Grandparents are cool. Played a big role in my life.
In all seriousness, though, I might need to just get recordings of him talking about, I don't know, 50s baseball one more time. Any chance he gets to talk about Roberto Clemente, I sit and I listen. Or like Wilt Chamberlain.
How old's your dad?
Or Chamberlain, as he says. My dad is 58.
You talking your dad or your granddad talking
Your
about?
granddad.
No.
I don't know how your dad would remember Roberto
No,
Clemente.
I said my grandfather.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Said your dad.
No, I said grandfather. My grandfather, he's like mid-80s, I think.
I think.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts and predictions coming up in a little less than 20 minutes. When we promoted this show yesterday, we cut a 15-second promo right after the show ends. And we didn't have any guests booked. And Mark said, I got it. You just intro it. I got it. I went, oh, okay. Coming up Friday, Miller and Moulton. And Mark goes, it's a football Friday. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Well, I will say, Mark, I give you a little meat on that bone for you here.
Okay.
The Phil Steele magazines are rolling off the press today.
Oh, I know. I think they started coming out earlier this week because I've noticed on Twitter a lot of the smaller colleges tweeting out their all conference players from Phil's magazine and of the like, and then Phil's retweeting those. So I have been running to my mailbox the last couple of days, waiting with eager anticipation of the Phil Steele book to arrive.
Well, the magazine's literally, according to Phil Steele, 7 minutes ago, they start rolling off the press today. My guess is some of those college SIDs are VIP members, and they've had the digital content now for a couple of weeks. And so they were posting all the first, second, third, fourth team all conference members that we have, blah, blah, blah. So there you go. All right. I mean, it's one of the staples of North American life. No later than July 4th weekend. You've got Phil Steele with you if you want it.
You know, I'm going to be out of town.
Right.
The week of the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be by a lake for a couple of those days.
Uh-huh.
I am hoping to cash in a Father's Day gift of being left alone for one of those days so that I can sit by said lake and just read the Phil Steele magazine all day.
So you're going to try to house June 18th and cash it in sometime between July 3rd and 7th is what you're saying.
Absolutely. I'm going to spend all day Sunday with my family. I'm going to go to church. We're going to go to brunch. We're going to have dinner together. I'm going to try to get them to watch golf with me. And I'm going to ask them very kindly on July 5th, can you leave me alone for 12 hours?
By the way, just letting you all know as we go to bed here on this July 4th, tomorrow is Father's Day. And I don't know if you saw our poll question. All right. But the two choices were the world is my oyster. That's what we did on Father's Day. Okay. But that wasn't my answer. My answer was to be left them alone. And I'm cashing that chip in tomorrow. So this was fun. Okay. We did the holiday together. Hope you enjoyed all your food. And I'll talk to you all again on Thursday. All right. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. But I'm with you. I got your back, whatever that's worth. You can call me. Say, Moulton, they won't leave me alone. But I'm with you. There you go. Phil Steele. They're printing them today.
A glorious day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dion's making the news again today too. He may lose his foot.
Well, he's already lost 2 toes.
Right.
I mean, Dion cannot run anymore. I mean, Dion walks with a noticeable limp. And Dion was supposed to make a public appearance a couple days ago, and he had to send his assistants. And yeah, he may lose.
He brought the cameras in to his doctor's appointment, like had the whole thing documented of that appointment, which there's a blood flow loss to his foot, and he may lose his foot.
Has been for a while. I guess it's been in the 60 percentile range for the blood flow. And remember when he was at Jackson State, he missed 3 games, and it was the complications from, because I think he had a staph infection. I think Dion, and that obviously made his situation a lot worse, and he missed 3 games. And then when he came back, he kind of had a scooter or, someplace to elevate his leg to help with the blood flow. But yeah, he's not in good shape. If you see a commercial with Dion, notice how he does not move. And even the commercial with him and Nick, that insurance commercial, walking on the field, Dion's got a hitch in his giddy up, and he takes like 2 steps. And that commercial's a couple years old. So, yeah. Not the best of news.
No, but a couple of football nuggets, one on the positive side, one not on the positive side. And just thought we'd update you on a couple of those things that are going on. 21,000 is the text line. If you have anything you want to chime into the show about, of whether it's Father's Day or not, we've been taking the text all day long.
Now, Bud Elliott is there. It's the Elite 11 football camp, and a Gator signing is at it and has been performing pretty well. I think it's DJ Lagway is his name, and they are ranking the quarterbacks, Mark, every day, how they're performing. And out of the 11, he's like middle of the pack. He's 5th or 6th, according to the Bud Elliott 24/7 rankings. Well, that'd be an upgrade.
It would be an upgrade. The problem is that the kid that's been number 1 each day is already committed to the University of Georgia.
Right. It is a problem when you're out there doing your best job and, you're doing pretty well on the recruiting trail, and the other guy who you have to catch, the guys he's getting at all those positions are just a little bit better than the guys you're getting. And you're getting good guys. Theirs are better. So, I'll tell you what, Oklahoma and Florida both got difficult 2024 schedules with head coaches who both went 6-7 in their first year and not quite sure what year 2 is going to be like. So year 3 expected to be very important years. Oklahoma got a pretty darn tough SEC schedule. Florida's schedules ain't no cupcake. And on top of it, they've got Miami, UCF, and Florida State as 3 of their 4 non-conference games. I mean, literally, how many teams in the country are going to play 11 Power 5 games?
Probably 1.
So, the DAC is a little stacked against Billy Napier here. And therefore, it's also stacked against the AD. I mean, they're tied at the hip here. Football's got to get turned around. AD doesn't get another football hire. And you can win your men's track and field championships and finish 2nd in the women, and you can finish 2nd in gymnastics and
go to the College World Series and all of those things.
And you might even win the damn thing. You win the men's golf. I mean, the Florida Gators might win 3 national championships this year. That's remarkable. I don't care how many sports you play. That's outstanding. Their football and basketball programs are struggling. And that pays the bills.
And trust me, no one would care if the basketball program was struggling if the football program had its act together.
Right. So, but just a little football news. Mark said today was a football Friday. I felt compelled to, throw a little football out there.
And you threw out something too, just a quick college baseball note. It's been since the number one seed has won the College World Series?
There is a number one seed jinx in college baseball. Wake Forest was the number one overall seed in this tournament. The last number one overall seed to win the College Baseball World Series, the Miami Hurricanes of 1999. The Gators are the second overall seed.
We'll see how well that bodes for the Florida Gators as the College World Series gets started tonight. Florida and Virginia taking one another on in their first round game. Miller and Moulton will finish the week off with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was the day when and what's on tap. That's how we do it right here on the Florida Sports Network.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So Antonio Brown, his arena football team got kicked out of the league.
Yes, he ran it into the ground and they got kicked out. And Albany's been a great arena football league city going all the way back to the AFL. I know I've told you this before. I am shocked that league didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
You and I always thought, when you were with the Blades and shortly thereafter, we always thought if we ran the Firecats, that place would have been packed. Football, air conditioning, and beer What are we missing?
Boy, talk about your spoiled, rotten, rich dad kids.
Oh, my God. Alan, they didn't promote. They charged so much money for, for sponsorships, and it should have been, honestly, if Mark ran the Firecats, it would have been the preeminent franchise in the league. And at the time, the time of year, it's not like Tico / Jermaine / Hertz, in June and July and early August had, all these Friday and Saturday nights booked. I mean, it would have been, he treated the Blades like the enemy. And they own the arena. It seems as if it's a wrong approach to take. I remember Lapsley. We were sitting upstairs drinking during one of the games. When I looked at him and I go, "What do you say we buy this thing?" He's like, "Oh, we'd crush it."
There was a couple of basketball teams, the Flame and the Sea Dragons. Sea Dragons were first.
It's interesting. They had Rick Barry as coach. They had Kevin Mackey as coach. The Flame had Dennis Johnson as coach, the late Dennis Johnson, like shortly before he died.
Sea Dragons' first game took like 4 hours, David.
Yep. And then there were like 6,000 people.
7,000 people there.
Yeah. And it took forever.
I remember I was there. I looked at Kessel and I went, "They're done." Or they're done. He's looking at me. "What are you talking about?" I go, "Look what time it is. It's halftime." It was like 9:30.
Yep.
Like they're done. This whole Zion thing is all they're talking about on national radio.
So are they talking about the off the field? If you're going to talk about this, don't you have to talk about the fact that 3 women have taken to Twitter, basically saying he could be the father of all 3 of our kids? The one porn star saying I'm late, and you're the dad.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. 3 hours ago, that was my segment. Mark, this is yours.
Well, then, hell, let's get right after it.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1858 we start. Lincoln accepting Illinois' Republican Party's nomination for the Senate says a house divided against itself cannot stand. 1884, the first roller coaster, the Switchback Railway, opens at Coney Island. 120 years ago, Ford Motor Company incorporates and Pepsi-Cola forms.
When was that?
1903. 1909. The reason Jim Thorpe had to forfeit his Olympic gold medals. He makes his pro pitching debut for Rocky Mount. It was a 4-2 win. 1951, at Oakland Hills, Ben Hogan wins his second consecutive U.S. Open title. 1960, Psycho opens in New York City. Today in 67, 50,000 attend the first day of the Monterey International Pop Festival, beginning the Summer of Love. 1968, at Oak Hill, Trevino wins his first major, beating Nicklaus by 4, the first to play sub-70 golf for all 4 rounds. Today in 1972, Bowie releases The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. 74, Borg wins his first Grand Slam at the French, falling down 2 sets to love to win 3 straight, 6-0, 6-1, 6-1. And that same day, Hale Irwin with 7 over would win at Winged Foot. I don't want that kind of carnage. I still want the golfer to be under par when he wins. I just want the ability for carnage to happen, David.
I don't know if he finished second or third, but Irwin won at 7 over, and Forrest Fessler either finished second at 9 over or third at 10 over. I just remember being 8 years old going, that's the craziest name I've ever heard.
He did finish in second place at 9 over.
Forrest Fessler. If you were Mr. and Mrs. Fessler, would you stick with the alliteration when you're naming your kid?
Wonder what his middle name is.
Hope they didn't stick with the alliteration.
Hope it wasn't Frederick. 75, the Bucks trade Kareem to the Lakers.
Yeah, it worked out really well for the Lakers.
1978, the film Grease opens. Loved me some Olivia Newton-John.
Oh, I was 12 years old. That was a big deal.
1980, the Blues Brothers opens, which still plays today, by the way.
Yes. The music in it's tremendous.
Today in 85 at Oakland Hills, Andy North wins his second U.S. Open.
Only 2 tournaments he won on the PGA Tour.
1996, the Bulls beat the Sonics in 6, their 4th title in 6 years. 98, the Wings go back-to-back, sweeping the Capitals. 2002, this guy named Tiger wins his second Open at Bethpage. 6 years later, Tiger would win his third, beating Rocco.
And last U.S. Open.
Justin Rose wins the Open today in 2013.
Phil had the lead on the back 9.
2015, Golden State beats the Cavs for their first title in 40 years. Those born today that are no longer with us: Geronimo, Stan Laurel, The Ultimate Warrior, and Tupac. Those celebrating birthdays today: Roberto Duran is 72, Phil Mickelson is 53, and hockey player Rick Nash is 39. What did I miss, David?
I don't know if we had this yesterday or if it was a different Dylan mega hit. But I've got, on this day in 65, Dylan records Like a Rolling Stone.
And I had that yesterday.
Yeah. That's what I thought. So otherwise, you hit all the notes, man.
I started driving my mom car a year ago today.
You got your Bronco a year ago today?
Yeah, the chick car, as you call it.
Oh, it is. It's a
look
great car. I love
not.
your car, Felipe. But has since you, in the year that you've noticed it, how many other men have you seen driving your model of that car?
Oh man, it's like 20/80 in favor of women.
Yeah,
it is crazy.
It's which would make it a what kind of car? A chick car.
By the way, just have one question, Felipe. Shortly after getting that car, okay, when did you meet your girlfriend?
No, we were already friends. So
right.
Yep. But what helped seal the deal?
No.
Do you let her drive that car?
Well, sometimes I'm just like, you want to drive it? She's like, sure. I'm not bored.
He's no, it's got nothing to do with it. Yeah. Okay.
Dare you to sell it.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Matt Lachey and Bob DeClue. Lost his boat that he lived on during Hurricane Ian. Somehow he landed a 1968 Dodge motorhome. They call him Willie Bob on the island because he resembles Willie Nelson. And now he's painted it into a hippie bus, and the colorful project lifts the spirits of people in Matt Lachey, so they say. He turned the bus into a home, and it is quite the sight. And it's good enough for us to make the good today. For the bad, we go to Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. 3 happy places that were smuggling meth in maple syrup. A drug syndicate that was smuggling tons of meth from Canada to Australia and New Zealand was finally busted. Sneaking the meth in maple syrup. It's got to honk the Canadians off.
Speaking of maple, did you see where Cheerios has discontinued their maple Cheerios?
Didn't even know there were maple Cheerios.
Yeah, I didn't either.
What?
I didn't either, but they last 5 years have been making maple Cheerios. Apparently now they're done.
I'm a Honey Nut guy personally.
Same.
Didn't even, if there were a maple though, I may have tried that.
Yeah, same. Sounds delicious.
Really does. For the ugly, we go to Fort Myers. The Edison Sailing Center has taught 17,000 kids to sail over the past 40 years. But between Hurricane Ian and now someone stealing the engines of all the boats, it's getting harder to give kids the experience they deserved. The docks were wiped out in Ian, and then someone stole the motors of all of the boats.
Wow.
That's the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, June the 16th, 2023.
Those motors ain't cheap.
No, they are not. About $90,000 worth of motors were stolen. Whew.
Marlins road trip continues. What are they, 3-3 on this trip so far? Or was it just the one series on the road where they went 1-2? They've been on the road
they
for
had
a
the
week.
Sox. They had the White Sox before that.
Right. They took 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Right. They lost 2 out of 3 in Seattle. So the 3-3 heading to Washington.
How about that geographically? Chicago to Seattle, now to Washington.
Right.
Thank you, schedule maker.
Alcantara on the hill for the Marlins tonight. And he has the worst record in ERA than the Nats pitcher, who's Trevor Williams, who's a journeyman. But the Marlins are favored tonight, 7:05 first pitch. Good one out west if you're interested. Rays Padres, McClanahan Darvish. Thank you very much.
The Padres are just hitting the ever-living snot out of the baseball right now.
College World Series, Oral Roberts TCU at 2:00 on the mothership, as Dan Patrick would call it. Virginia and the Gators, 7:00 tonight on ESPN. There you have it. Gators, first time in Omaha in 5 years. Got that U.S. Open thing.
What's it on right now, the early part of the coverage? Where would you catch that?
It would be on Peacock.
You know, I watched a lot of the Open yesterday, and they mentioned
Peacock
several times. And not one time did they say it quite like David Moulton says.
Peacock.
Exactly. 1:00 USA, 8 p.m. NBC.
So there you have it. The Kepco Rory group tees off, I think, a couple hours. So you're going to have to catch that this afternoon. I mean, that's how it usually works. If you're in the night one day, or usually fairly early in the day the next. If you went off the back one day, you usually go off the front the next. Did you see our FGCU guy? He started the round with 6 straight pars. Didn't make a birdie and had 4 bogeys and 2 doubles. Shot an 8 over 78, which is one of the worst rounds of the day, actually.
Yeah, it's only a 79's worse because no one shot 80 or over at the Open yesterday.
But, you know, I was encouraged by his start. And he shot 3 over on the turn. You know, he had a bogey double back-to-back, but couldn't birdie any of the par fives, never got anything going. And so today will be his last round at the Open. But Frankie Sappis, hell of an accomplishment just to get there with Mom on the bag. Did he get any airtime?
I did not see him get any. And I watched pretty much till 11 last night.
You did doze off a couple times.
I know. It's golf. It's a couch.
I know. It's late in the week. You've been getting up at 4:30 all week. I know. So, little Omaha action today and tonight. Major League Baseball action tonight. And, of course, the golf going on all damn day and night. All right. Twitch chat room. Baby Jules says that they saw a highlight of him on 17 or 18 putting.
But didn't mention Mom, which we thought would be the key part of him getting on television.
I was going to say, I thought it'd be the only reason he'd get on TV.
Maybe this afternoon as he's walking up 18 for his last hole. You never know, depending if nothing's going on. He'll have to birdie it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Get that last hole birdie or a long par putt or something to get him a little notoriety, but good for him.
Well, and NBC shows more taped golf shots than any of the networks doing golf. So they could always work in, if he makes a birdie today, they could always say, and here's the story of.
They don't always give you the moments ago either.
Oh, no.
It's why when you see an obscure golfer and they put him on television, the odds are it's going to be a really good shot. And it drives me nuts, too, because they call it like...
Right. Like, oh, my goodness.
Well, like they don't know what's going to happen.
Right. Meanwhile, trust me, they've been told in their ear, hey, this guy's name's Frankie Sappis, 35-footer for birdie on 11. Mom's his caddy. And that's where Terry Gannon hit the button and go, what's Mom's name? Okay, and somebody give it to him. Okay, thanks.
So Fowler, 70.5. I'll put the over-under on it today. Where are you going?
Over.
Schauffele, I'll go 69.5.
Under.
Do you think Schauffele's winning this thing after one round?
I don't know. I don't know if he can hold up on Sunday. I don't know. How many majors does he have?
That would be 0.
Okay. All right. Not only that, this is kind of his home area, isn't it?
Would be fascinating to see these two continue to play well. Neither with the major, have had Sunday problems at majors before.
Well, I mean, listen, it's a great leaderboard. We had Ron Sirak on earlier, and he said, well, you can judge a course many different ways. If you want to go by 62 is too low, okay. He goes, then again, got Rory at, T5. You got DJ T3, DeChambeau and Scheffler, in the top 10. Finau and Homa 2 under. Cream's right there. We'll say, Mark, the U.S. Open's famous for obscure first-round leaders. That didn't happen this time. Miller and Moulton, happy Father's Day. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back Monday.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again,
Yeah.